how she did just what you said, so you shot her in the head for the crime of standing up for her own neighbors. Come out, ye cowards, ice! Come out, ye cowards, ice! Peel away your grim disguise. Tell your wife how you take orders from the fascists, and how the city you betray made you run like hell away from the white and snowy streets of Minneapolis. I bet you felt so big and strong when Nurse Pretty came along, and he tried to shield a woman you were beating. 6 agents held him down, and you shot him on the ground and stood around to watch him as he lay there bleeding. Come out, ye cowards, ice! Peel away your grim disguise. Tell your wife how you take orders from the fascists, how the city you betray made you run like hell away from the white and snowy streets of Minneapolis. Come, let us hear you tell how you serve the country well, gassing children in their schools and cars and houses, and how the nation's great distress can be solved by DHS if you repress the rage your cruelty arouses. Come out, ye cowards, ice! Peel away your grim disguise. Tell your wife how you take orders from the fascists, and how the city you betray made you run like hell away from the white and snowy streets of Minneapolis. Come out, ye cowards, ice! Peel away your grim disguise. Tell your wife how you take orders from the fascists, and how the city you betray made you run like hell away from the white and snowy streets of Minneapolis. From the white and snowy streets of Minneapolis. Thank you so much. My name is Ben Grosscup. Good to be with you today. Thanks for coming out.
Kick it off. Oh, take my hand in your hand and walk with me to the promised land. Beat your drum and join the band, and we'll chase away the clouds of the morning. We don't need any more than we are. We don't have to be afraid. There is a power in these legs and arms, and the voices that we can raise, saying no, we won't go away. I have heard the crowds of the old and the young, when the steel canyons echoed with the songs that were sung, and the streets were filled and the law was undone, and the fever of the people was breaking. We don't need any hand-me-downs. We're not looking for charity. 'Cause we've been fooled, we've been jerked around, and there's only so much we can say. No, we won't go away. Oh, the time it will come all over the earth. We will lay down our tools, their concessions we'll refuse. When there's nothing left to lose, throw our bodies on the gears and stop this infernal machine. There's another day just about to unfold, when another world will rise from the ashes of the old, and the meek will follow in the footsteps of the bold, when we realize what's ours for the taking. We don't need any weapons of war, not a drop of blood will fall away. They are many, but we are many more, and the sky will echo our refrain. No, we won't go away. Whoa, 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 whoa. The time it will come all over the earth. We will lay down our tools, their concessions we'll refuse. When there's nothing left to lose, throw our bodies on the gears and stop this infernal machine.
Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Viva Jack, Viva Jack, Viva Jack, Viva Jack, Viva Jack, Viva Jack, Viva Jack. That's what I'm talking about. First time singing the songs for Viva Jack. Shout out. I don't know what I'm doing really, but I got passion. That's what it's about. It's all about passion. Swishy streams, all that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Viva Jack, 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 Viva Jack,
Hello, hello, hello. How we all doing tonight, folks? Good evening, y'all. Oof. Hey, hey, hey! What's up, Sage? Hello, Yannick de Newburg. Hello, Nocturnal8999. Hello, Latzia. Hello, Avanemone. Hello, Jenny. Hello, A Crossroads Witch. Hello, Ariel Young. Hello, Moshe Dale. Hello, Berserk Jazerk. Hello, Vox Boxman. Hello, Cute Dark Arts. Hello, Stop the Stupidity. Thank you for kicking us off with 5 gifted memberships. Very, very much appreciated. Hello, thank you so goddamn much. Hello, Mix Dizzy. Hello, the non-aesthetic witch. Hello, Cane Dog Lover. Hello, Dreaming of Kadath. Hello, Soap, the Turtle Cupcake. Hello, Superjet Guy. Hello, Polaire. Hello, Sweet Blasphemy. Hello, Uncle Gumball. Hello, Forlorn79. Hello. How we doing, Jazz Dog? The jazziest dog we know. Hello, Cliff. Hello, Mr. Malachite. Hello, Kim Jong Samantha. Hello, Just to Be Here. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Pup Wrecker. Hello, Sonnet. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Feistiest Bard. How we all doing, folks? Also, check out the sleeves on this thing. It's fun top. What's everyone eating? Doing a late night Taco Bell run? Oh, fuck. That sounds good. Morning. Hello to you as well. Hello, Jay Deagles. Finished making a Trans Day of Visibility flyer for my DSA branch today. Oh, hell yeah. About to have a vegan sausage kale pasta. Ooh. Hello, Banana Brains. Your boy's struggling to go on and feeling more hopeless than usual, but we're trying. Hey, I had a hard day too. And, I get it. The world be crazy indeed. Also, I don't know why, but the .gg site is not auto-scrolling for me, so if I'm missing messages from you guys, I do apologize. Notice you're kind of gothy again tonight? Yeah, I love goth aesthetic. I love it. I'm just not good at, like, goth makeup. But, I think if you just kind of, like, embrace the aesthetic, you can look cool as fuck. Even if you're not super great at the makeup part. Sorry you had a rough day. It's just one of the, I like to project a certain amount of confidence when I do this program, you know? Um but like the reality is like all this shit gets to me, Like all of it gets to me. And yet I also have a ton of things I need to do and get done on any given day, as well as, actually be on camera for the show. And I think the past couple of days have been a series of days where I felt relatively okay and safe, which is then when my body's like, okay, we're safe, time to dump all of the feelings we've been bottling up. And so I think it's just me processing my feelings. I think that's just kind of it, but they all come out at once, and they all come out, and it's really difficult to handle feelings, it's maybe one of the most autistic things I've ever said, but I think you guys understand what I mean by that, right? Feelings are difficult, and usually I am able to cope just by running and kind of running out the feelings, exerting myself to like sweat out the feelings, but you know it doesn't make the feelings go away. It just makes it easier to bully on through, Emotional diarrhea. Yeah, like I just fucking collapsed for like 2 or 3 hours today crying. Hello, Dragonfly. But you know what? Life goes on, and so must we. ooh, maybe I should go scream and cry for a bit. That could be healing. Honestly, like a great piece of advice if you're in like a place where you feel safe right now, like physically safe, and you can do it, you know, in a relatively quiet way, it's okay to cry. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to like let yourself feel feelings. And sometimes, and I know this from experience, sometimes you just need to be given permission. And I'm going to do that right now. You all have permission to feel your feelings and have a good cry. You've earned it. It's okay. It's okay. All right? Make sure you drink water. That's true. I had a bunch of water before I came on stream. Now I'm drinking energy beverage because, hey. Whew. Learning how to feel my feelings for real and listen to me is a work in progress. Absolutely. Always is. Hey, Abyssal Liz. Hello, Dragonfly. Hello, Ozymandias. Energy beverage has what plants crave. It's true. Better if you just let yourself ugly cry, the most ugly cry of all time. True. Sometimes you just need to snot cry. Whew. Okay, folks. Probably worth some salts if you're gonna have a good sob. True, Salmon Moose. True, 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 true. Also, folks, before we get into the show today, just want to let you guys know tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Time, I will be going live on the Transatlantic Call-In Show. So do tune in if you're available, if you're free to swing on by and say hello. I'll be debating transphobes, talking about trans issues. Feel free to call in, I guess, if you would like to discuss anything on your mind related to those topics. And guesting on another show, I'm actually like a part-time host on the Transatlantic Call-In Show, and occasionally on like Jimmy Snow's The Line show. It's getting hard to stop hating being trans with all the anti-trans stuff being spewed constantly. You know, rather than hate being trans, hate the people who are spreading hatred about you, you know? If you must hate anybody, hate them. Like it's like being trans would be great if people would just stop giving a shit about it, you know? It's different living in Tennessee, that's fair. Oof. Hello, Gilbertus Maximus. Now, I am wondering, which part do we want to go with first here? Would I go on Leftist Mafia? I've been on Leftist Mafia before. It was a long time ago. If they invited me on again, I'd definitely go on. I like Leftist Mafia. trying to think. Is there any like goofy conservative content we could go over? Because like a lot of the conservative like, for example, I would love to go over Tucker Carlson's interview with Joe Kent, but I genuinely I don't know that it's worth spending like 6 hours of our time to go through that interview, you know? Alex Jones on Tim Pool. In a similar vein, is it worth it to spend 6 hours on Alex Jones and Tim Pool? I feel like it's a 5-minute long bit, you know? Um Thoughts on the Vanguard? I think they're all right. Like they're a bit more caustic than I typically like, but like I think they got their hearts in the right place generally. Jack needs to go on the Bituation Room. I'd love to go on the Bituation Room. Um Oh, whooga! Drunk Alex Jones? Maybe. Also, there is a new What If Alt history video. And I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do is the woke right real? I don't think I can do it. There is one from about 4 months ago about how modernity is two mythologies, and I don't remember if we covered it or not. So I'm gonna hold off on that on that one. I like the spoons. Yeah. Can we be honest? Gavin Newsom is terrible. Yeah, I've been saying that the whole time. The woke right? Yeah, people have been talking about the woke right as like a thing. It's just a whole can of worms. Um we all want Bernie Sanders for president. Are we going to get it? No, cuz he's old as hell. Please spare us tonight. Oh, no, I would make you guys pay for Rudyard content. I'm not just going to spring that on you apropos of nothing. But also I was just looking for like I don't know, is there like a bite-sized insane conservative thing to do? I don't know. Like I know there's like a Michael Knowles video out there where like Luke Beasley went on Michael Knowles' show again to like do debates and drink beers. This time with that crazy conservative guy with an eye patch, Dan Crenshaw. I just I want something bite sized like that, but I feel like we've already covered a lot of these things already. Did you hear about the guy who got sentenced for 30 years in prison for having anarchist zines? Zines are kind of like pamphlets. I am aware of what zines are, and I did hear about it, and it was complete bullshit. Beasley isn't mean enough to people for my tastes. I feel like you got to be a little bit meaner if you're going to go on conservative shows like Michael Knowles, you know? Got to be a little bit below the belt, but like in a polite way, you know? All right, whatever. We'll jump into the Iran stuff because I think it's really important, and I do have a few other bits of content we can tackle. I just I have a hankering. I have a hankering for like a conservative video essay. And conservative video essays have basically died on YouTube, you know? Uh I feel like an animal wandering about a wasteland after a mass extinction event looking for whatever I can scavenge when it comes to like conservative long form content. The main issue is all of the conservative long form content these days are like the stupidest, most bigoted people you can imagine. Uh like just yapping about nothing except occasional insertion of bigotry for like 3 hours, or it's people just live streaming with no segments whatsoever for 5 hours. And as somebody who live streams and yaps for 5 hours straight, I get it. I get it. But I do have my content broken down into little chunks for people to watch. And I more people need to do that. Okay. How's my mom doing? Eh, not great. She do be yapping. It's true. I love little chunks, right? Hello, damned Sputnik. We could have learning nights where we watch and process some of our faves together. I can't do that. Sadly, I can't do that. I am right now. I want you guys to understand. I'm operating at basically the maximum capacity that I can do things at. Just in life and in this particular realm. Um, I cannot add more things on my plate. Um, and I do apologize. I know a bunch of people have been reaching out to me in like DMs for various things. I'm not going to be very reachable for a hot minute. Um, what was that research stream you mentioned about Iran? I genuinely don't know what you're talking about because I didn't talk about a research stream. I talked about doing like putting together essentially like a lesson plan to like walk you guys through the early history, not the early history, but the like lead up to the modern state of Iran. I talked about preparing a whole thing for you guys about that. Like, what do you mean? What was that? You you understand? I just said it. I just said what it is. I don't know when I'll get around to that. I have a lot of great ideas for content. It requires me to have time. Guys, I'm starting a stream at 1 o'clock in the morning. Fuck. Do you know who Ben and Grace Thorpe are? Are those two like white nationalists, like pronatalists, and transphobes who look like they're related but they're actually married? Of course there's already content about the history of Iran. For fuck's sake. Yeah, we did watch them before. Honestly, they're too stupid to be interesting. You know? Okay, Ben and Grace Thorpe are two different people. They're a father daughter. Oh god, there's a video of him spanking her on the internet. Okay, I'm regretting just like even googling those names. Okay. Yeah, I've never covered them. Oh, Fox of Fate Chet is being normal. I am just immensely irritated and on the edge. Okay. I'm prickly tonight, folks. Okay. Let's just jump into Iran. Because at least then I can be angry at the appropriate people. Do. Hey, T-Life. Alright, here we go. So, folks, we gotta talk about Iran because Donald Trump has essentially kicked the hornet's nest and is now trying to desperately push all of the bees and hornets back into the nest. I know bees and hornets don't generally live in the same nest, but roll with me here for this deeply flawed analogy. So, where are we at with Iran? Well, as of about an hour ago, South Korea is freaking out because it turns out, and you guys might not believe this, um, it takes like oil in order for countries to ship their goods across the ocean. This might be a new concept to some of you, but essentially, a lot of these shipping vessels rely on oil to power their engines so that they can go. Now, there's a big problem here for a lot of countries in that part of the world because since Iran is choking off the Strait of Hormuz, uh, through which 20% of the world's crude oil flows, well, turns out places like Japan and South Korea that do not have massive stockpiles of uh, oil are now scrambling to figure out how they can get oil so that their entire economy can continue to function instead of their boats just not working anymore. And when we hit this point, this is when like the world economy starts developing a hitch in its giddy up, as it were. And it is going to be one of those things where America and Americans in general are just going to generally shrug at this development without really realizing that downstream of like South Korea not being able to export things and Japan not being able to export things, um, that's going to affect us here. Like, it's not a problem that is relegated to the other side of the planet and is going to stay isolated there. Disrupting the supply chain is going to basically screw everything up everywhere all the time for the foreseeable future. Okay? And I mean, like everything from machine parts for your local factory to computer components, everything. If shipping stops, those things stop too. All right? Suddenly, we are cut off from a lot of very important supplies. Do you think countries will resort to green energy? If this conflict does draw on, which it looks increasingly likely to do, there is a good possibility that countries will start shifting far more rapidly over to green energy. There is a world in which, oil hitting $200 a barrel could be a catalyst for a mass adoption of green energy. And that's great, but also understand that a mass adoption of green energy like that would take time. Like, you can't just pull all of the solar panels you need out of your ass in order to make that happen overnight. Like, it has to be manufactured, it has to be installed, it has to be connected to the grid. Like, and then it has like, you have to figure out locations for these solar panels. You have to figure out how to, retrofit cars with like battery tech, and like, it's not impossible, but like, we're talking like a multi-year plan that could take anywhere from 5 to 10 years. And like, a lot of people are hoping, a lot of people can't just like pause, you can't just like pause the global economy for 5 to 10 years, like, it is going to go really, really sideways if that is the resort here. um it's going to make the inflation that came with COVID look like a teeny tiny hiccup. Yeah. And it's gonna get a lot worse here. Um, Gas prices in the United States are relatively protected from where they are elsewhere in the world, but that that is only going to be for a limited amount of time, especially considering the fact that Donald Trump is really, really realizing today that he fucked up. That he fucked up with Iran. Because he thought he was just going to go in. It was going to be a quick little thing. They'd have a revolution, then he'd get out, right? Then it's their problem again. But that is not at all what happened. And literally anyone who has studied Iran ever would have told him that this is not what is going to happen. They are not going to have just a cheery little revolution after you kill the leadership. That's just not how Iran is structured. And well, he put out a message on Truth Social about 4 hours ago now. Here it is. Israel, out of anger for what has taken place in the Middle East, has violently lashed out at a major facility known as South Pars gas field in Iran. A relatively small section of the hull has been hit. The United States knew nothing about this particular attack, and the country of Qatar was in no way, shape, or form involved with it, nor did it have any idea that it was going to happen. Unfortunately, Iran did not know this or any of the pertinent facts pertaining to the South Pars attack, and unjustifiably and unfairly attacked a portion of Qatar's LNG gas facility. No more attacks will be made by Israel pertaining to this extremely important and valuable South Pars field unless Iran unwisely decides to attack a very innocent, in this case Qatar, in which instance the United States of America, with or without the help or consent of Israel, will massively blow up the entirety of the South Pars gas field at an amount of strength and power that Iran has never seen or witnessed before. I do not want to authorize this level of violence and destruction because of the long-term implications that it will have on the future of Iran, but if Qatar's LNG is attacked again, I will not hesitate to do so. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, to elaborate on this here, like, Israel attacked an oil field, a pretty significant one in Iran, and essentially the unstated and unenforced agreement that has kind of been propped up by both these countries is that it's kind of a tit for tat when it comes to oil, and when it comes to these gas fields and like infrastructure for extracting oil. That infrastructure is very expensive. Again, if you light an oil field on fire, it can rapidly become uncontainable, and uh, it's kind of like one of those things where it is often irreversible in the short term, right? And so, essentially, what happened here: Israel hit this oil field, and for the over the last several days, Trump has been messaging essentially like, we're gonna bomb the hell out of Iran, but not the oil fields. Not the oil infrastructure. Israel, stop bombing the oil infrastructure. It's very important that you stop doing that, because again, Donald Trump wants to de-escalate this and figure out a way to get out. And if the oil fields get exploded, so too goes any kind of ending this relatively soon. Like if the oil fields get successfully attacked and burned, and liquefied natural gas, yes, okay. Um, we're not we're not just talking about oil fields. We're talking about liquefied natural gas as well. Thank you. I'm really frustrated right now. I'm trying my best. I'm talking about the oil fields that got hit by Israel. But if the oil fields, oil infrastructure, liquefied natural gas infrastructure, etc., get hit, this effectively goes the region. Like there isn't going to be a ready solution to this conflict. It's just going to be essentially a free-for-all, where Iran has mutually assured destruction with all of the oil and gas infrastructure in the area, and they are going to exact that price. Because again, the only deterrent they have is access to those fields, access to that natural resource that the entire global economy runs on, and they have to show that they are willing to blow that shit up in order to um in order to try and like stave off any future attacks on the country. You know, they're going to exact the price for this. And so it's worth noting that basically in every war game run related to Iran, short of a full-on air, sea, and ground invasion of Iran, the Iranian regime remains standing. You can bomb all kinds of different shit in Iran. You're not going to be able to destroy their government. You're not going to be able to destroy their military, etc., etc., etc. Okay? And what is going to happen here, Iran didn't strike Qatar. Oh my god. Fuck. Guys, let me get through my fucking point before you start like jumping in. God. So the point is that Iran is striking different oil infrastructure and gas infrastructure. For those of you who want to really be pedantic about this, they're striking both types of infrastructure in response to any of the strikes on their oil and gas infrastructure. And so what is that? Okay, if you are talking with someone else in the chat, don't at me about it. Like, you can have that conversation. Don't at me about it while I'm trying to make my point. The issue here is that when we are talking about this, this is going to be the kind of thing that there's no off-ramp from, right? that this is going to be something where it's just going to keep going back and forth, escalating and escalating. And what you see right now is different countries expelling Iranian foreign ministers in the Gulf because, hey, guess what? Saudi Arabia has a military too. And all of these surrounding countries, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, they have militaries that they can field. Okay? And so one of the things that they are going to be doing here is potentially attacking and invading, trying to bite off pieces of Iran as well. And this is just going to become one of the biggest clusterfucks we've ever seen geopolitically. Okay? And what is I was saying that the point Trump is making is trash because they didn't know any oil facilities. They didn't strike any oil facilities until theirs was struck. Trump isn't even disputing that point, though. Like, Trump is saying, well, they didn't know about it, but they did strike gas facilities after theirs was struck. Like, he's doing it in the stupidest way possible, but his timeline of events is not wrong at this point. Okay? Like, I'm gonna lose it. I should not have streamed tonight, but here I am. So, essentially, we are in like this cycle of violence. There's no off ramp from it at this point because Donald Trump keeps saying, "Well, and if you do keep retaliating, I'm gonna blow up all the oil fields anyway." So like, it's just there's no off ramp at this point. There's no adult in the room to reel him in. There's no one who is sane to tell him, "Hey, things are like this is how you cool things down with Iran." That like the people he sent to negotiate, his dipshit son-in-law and his dipshit friend, didn't understand what the Iranian negotiators were even talking about, and they triggered this war. Okay, like we are seeing the escalation of a regional war. And when this damage begins hitting $200 a barrel, then we are going to start seeing like global damage being exacted. And the thing is, Iran doesn't even need to use that much military power to close the Strait of Hormuz. They just have to have a plausible risk for any of those ships going through, which they are able quite easily to maintain, right? And gone are the days where Donald Trump is trying to say, hey, we did this to like strike their nuclear abilities. I wanted to play this clip from Congress earlier today of John Ossoff cross-examining Tulsi Gabbard. Let's take a listen to this real quick.
Under the law, you are responsible for providing national intelligence to the president, correct?
Yes.
And to the heads of executive branch departments and agencies, yes?
Yes.
And to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and senior military commanders?
Across the IC, yes.
And to the Senate and the House and relevant committees, correct?
Yes.
And the law states that the national intelligence you provide to Congress, quote, should be timely, objective, and independent of political considerations, correct?
Yes.
And you noted in your opening statement you're here fulfilling a statutory responsibility and that your testimony, quote, represents the IC's assessment of threats,
That's right.
Correct? That opening statement, as submitted to the committee in advance of this hearing, stated that as a result of last summer's airstrikes, quote, Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated, end quote, correct?
That's right.
And is that in fact the assessment of the intelligence community?
Yes.
So the assessment of the intelligence community is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated by last summer's airstrikes.
Yes.
In the opening statement you submitted to the committee last night also stated, quote, there has been no effort since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability, end quote, correct?
That's right.
And that's the assessment of the intelligence community.
Yes.
The White House stated on March 1st of this year that this war was launched and was, quote, a military campaign to eliminate the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, end quote. That's a statement from the White House. Quote, the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime. Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was an imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime?
The intelligence community assessed that Iran maintained the intention to rebuild and to continue to grow their nuclear enrichment capability.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, yes or no?
Senator, the only person who can determine what is and is not an imminent threat is the president.
False.
And
This
he
is the
made that
worldwide. This is the
determination.
worldwide threats hearing where you present to Congress national intelligence, timely, objective, and independent of political considerations. You've stated today that the intelligence community's assessment is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated, and that, quote, there had been no efforts since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability. Was it the intelligence community's assessment that nevertheless, despite this obliteration, there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime? Yes or no?
It is not the intelligence community's responsibility to determine what is and is not an imminent threat.
Okay.
That is up to
Here's
the
the
president
problem.
based on a volume
No,
of
it is
information
precisely
that he receives.
It is precisely your responsibility to determine what constitutes a threat to the United States. This is the worldwide threats hearing.
Like, honestly, masterfully done. Masterfully done. Like, on his own. We all knew, like, the nuclear excuse was complete and utter bullshit from the get-go, but, like, John Ossoff helped really put the tombstone on that entire argument. But, you know, this conflict, you know how I was talking about how it is spiraling out of control, it's getting bigger and bigger? Well, one of the ways that we haven't talked about a ton thus far is the fact that, hey, Israel is invading Lebanon. Like, I don't know why this isn't being talked about more in US press. I don't really get the amount of cover that is given by mainstream news networks here in the United States. But Israel is just straight up invading another country while, like, engaged in a bombing campaign against Iran. And for those who haven't really been paying attention to what's going on in Lebanon, they have effectively done a mass ethnic cleansing of the entirety of southern Lebanon, hundreds of thousands of people displaced. And it again, this is being done supposedly to root out Hezbollah from Lebanon. And it has included bombing campaigns against Lebanon's capital. It is, it is just, it's awful so far. According to Lebanon, almost 1,000 people have died, including over 100 children. It's like it is expanding outward from Israel, and it does really seem like this is all part of a massive land grab that Israel and Netanyahu are trying to do, like part of their rebuilding of the greater Israel project that Netanyahu has personally endorsed and talked about, you know. And so this is all going real bad. And like we start looking at all these other countries that are arming up, that are mobilizing their militaries. The possibility here for essentially the entire Middle East to become a world war is intensifying. Let's just take a look at what Republicans are talking about in Congress these days.
It's been an extraordinarily successful campaign over the last couple of weeks. Our military objectives are being accomplished day after day. It's a methodical and deliberate effort because it's a very big country with a lot of weapons. But anyone who says that we're already losing or we're in a quagmire or the president can't succeed because of the threat that Iran poses to the Hormuz right now is akin to saying Eisenhower is losing because he hadn't made it to Berlin within 2 weeks of D-Day. It's going to take some time to achieve those military objectives. But in the end, we will have defanged the Iranian regime. Their missile... It's been...
I love how all the Republicans are like, it's totally not a war, but how dare you criticize Donald Trump? Like that's like criticizing insert general from the global war that happened last century. Like, it's not a war, but we're comparing it to World War II. What? What the hell are you talking about? Don't objectives have to usually be stated beforehand? Yes, they do. Also, boy howdy, that is a really bad idea if you want to make that comparison. Like, if your comparison is, well, this isn't like World War II, like, I mean, come on, give it some time, and then it will be like World War II. I feel like you're saying the quiet part out loud of this being effectively the opening salvos of World War III. And that should give everybody in the room pause, but Republicans just don't give a fuck anymore. They're like, yeah, what? So what if we get into World War III? I'm still gonna get my treats, aren't I? All of my tasty treats. And it's like, no, you're not gonna get your tasty treats. Like, oil prices are gonna shut down the fucking ability for you to get tasty treats. Like, I mean, not to mention the fact that this is being run by a guy whose brain is leaking out of his ears.
Yeah. If Iran, as you said, totally obliterated, got the missiles, got the first 2 rounds of leadership, Air Force gone, Navy gone, can we wrap this war up this week?
Yeah, sure. Good.
Will we?
I don't think so, but it'll be soon. Won't be long. And we're going to have a much safer world when it's wrapped up. It'll be wrapped up soon. We're going to have a much safer world. I had an obligation to do this. I didn't want to, I call it an excursion. I didn't want to, yeah.
Oh, it's not a war, it's an excursion. It's an excursion, everybody. It's not World War III, it's just an excursion. He's not lucid? Yeah, I mean, he's repeating sentences over and over again. He's like, fucking, I mean, guys, he's having to prop himself up with his arms in his chair. Like, he can't even keep himself up straight. This is the guy that you want leading us into World War III for literally no reason at all? It's super frustrating. You know? We have multiple wars of conquest now in the world. Does that mean we're already in a world war? I mean, if this escalates to being a wide-scale regional war, which it looks like it is going to, yeah. One could very easily call this a world war. And, I just have to say, at least there are a couple Democrats who are saying that they're going to do something about this or that they're going to deny more funding, but like,
I want to talk about the cost of the war. It's cost more than $11 billion in its first 6 days. Now, some of your Senate Democratic colleagues have said they are open to reviewing requests for additional funds, arguing it may be necessary for overall military readiness. Would you consider voting for or approving more funding for the military during this conflict?
No, the military has all the funding it needs for this conflict, unless this conflict goes on for years. There was an extra $150 billion for the military in the big ugly bill that passed last year. So the Pentagon has all the resources that it can use in the current conflict. Now, the future is something different, and we'll have to figure out what the future needs of the military are, because we're depleting so many of the stocks of the military, another huge cost of the war. But let's think about what is being lost right now, and that is all of these billions, this $11 billion just within the first few days. That's money that could have gone into new hospitals and new schools. It could have gone into health care for people. It could have gone into meeting the needs of the American people. A hospital costs about $100 million. That means that if we're spending $1 billion a day in Iran, we're effectively dropping 10 hospitals a day on Iran and destroying the potential we would have had to make that kind of investment in our country. That's money we're never going to get back. So the Pentagon doesn't need more money right now for this war. It doesn't need to open pipelines off the California coast. And by the way, Kristen, that was something the administration was pushing even before the war. So they're just using this now as a pretext to try to open pipelines that have resulted in terrible spills in California. This is the cost, the human cost of this mistake by the president to bring us to war again.
Like, okay, Democrats, I'm really glad that you're at the very least not on board with voting for more funds for this insanity. But like, why even be like, the military has all it needs right now? Like, honestly, like, I feel like the messaging is just wrong. The messaging is just absolutely fucked on this. Like, Democrats should be screaming from the rooftops that this deranged lunatic, this insane simpleton, is leading us into and starting a global catastrophe, a global war. Like, get mad about it, talk about it, and message about it like it's a fucking big deal, because people need to be told it's a big deal.
That's billion with a B. Never ever let them tell us that there's not enough money for our
Yep.
social programs ever again.
Yup. Why are they being this weak? Because right now, it is still business as usual for these people, right? It is still business as usual for Chuck Schumer, for Hakeem Jeffries, etc. Like, they haven't actually been materially impacted by this at all. At all. And, well, Adam Schiff is paid not to be mad about this war. Adam Schiff does take some donos from, I think, J Street. He might also take it from AIPAC. But, like, again, a lot of the issue here is just, like, all these guys are heavily incentivized to keep acting like it is just business as usual, you know? And they're not going to move until, like, mass public pressure makes them move. It's deeply, deeply frustrating. And I am really worried that the only way mass public pressure is going to move them to do anything about this is through two mechanisms. One, gasoline prices going to like $8 a gallon. Okay? Like, gas prices going up to like insane levels when oil hits like $200 a barrel. That might do it. That might catalyze some action on the part of Congress, both Republican and Democrat. But the other one is going to be running out of interceptors, running out of anti-air defense ammunition. And then damage reports and news stories beginning to proliferate about, members of the military being killed, installations in the Middle East being blown up, embassies being destroyed, etc. Like, it is... Those are the two things. Those are the two things that are really going to catalyze even more support against the current administration, right? And when I say, like, these two things could happen, I think they could happen a lot sooner than some people realize, okay? This is footage from CNN from about 2 days ago of the embassy in Baghdad. Massive explosion.
وقعت عمر استعجل
So, like, basically every American installation in the Middle East is getting attacked right now. And they are, like, I gotta tell you, like, I'm not an expert on, military ammunition or anything like that, but I can tell you that seeing that amount of fire from an embassy is not sustainable cost-wise. They do not have a ton of ammunition in that regard, all right? And, well, it turns out, keep in mind, I just showed you footage of the embassy in Baghdad. Well, here is footage, apparently from a FPV drone operated by Iranian-backed militias, flying freely and uncontestedly over the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. And that is from roughly a day or two ago. And I should let you know that this is really fucking bad news for basically all American military and diplomatic establishments throughout the Middle East. If we are already at the point where Iranian-backed militias can fly these drones over American embassies, we're in really bad shape. Like, the amount of damage that could be done is huge. And what a lot of people aren't really realizing here is that there's been a colossal technological shift that has happened. I would say maybe akin to when, the Spanish galleons got outmaneuvered by smaller, more maneuverable and faster vessels that were able to, like, go around them and avoid the gunfire from the Spanish galleons. That's kind of what's happening here, because drones are really cheap, and they're easy to mass produce, and they're easy to weaponize. And basically what has happened here is that it kind of seems like, and again, I'm just a humble country streamer here, but, like, kind of seems like the United States is still stuck, at least under Donald Trump, uh, idolizing gigantic warships and aircraft carriers and whatnot. And, well, that might not really be the most useful thing in modern warfare anymore. And so we're in, like, an entirely new territory here where, honestly, it kind of seems like the United States is just like brought a one-shot bazooka to a fight against, 1,000 guys with sticks. Like, the bazooka could be pretty effective, but it's not gonna blow up all the guys with sticks. Like, that's like uh you can cause some damage with the bazooka, but the guys with sticks are gonna beat you. All right? And one thing I would just like to point out is, speaking of aircraft carriers and big ships, this is an article from 2 days ago in the New York Times. Fire on U.S. aircraft carrier raged for hours, sailors say. The Ford is now entering its 10th month of deployment after arriving in the Middle East from the Caribbean. It took more than 30 hours for sailors to put out the fire aboard the aircraft carrier Gerald R. Ford last week, sailors and military officials said, as the beleaguered ship continues its months-long slog through President Trump's military operations. The fire started in the ship's main laundry area last Thursday. By the time it was over, more than 600 sailors and crew members had lost their beds and have since been bunking down on floors and tables, officials said. So, just as an FYI, I don't know if you guys know this, but ships need maintenance. Ships need to be rearmed. Ships need to be, like, serviced. And, like, because Donald Trump is just sending them from one conflict zone to another that he himself is starting without any preparation whatsoever, the ship is literally lighting on fire with uncontainable outbursts because the laundry is getting overloaded. The soldiers aren't able to sleep on fucking beds because they all burned up. And they aren't going to get any new beds anytime soon because they're deployed. Right? And so someone suggested it was on purpose to force the deployment to end. The issue is Donald Trump doesn't give a fuck if those soldiers have beds or not. Like, Donald Trump doesn't give a shit if they all have to poop off the side of the aircraft carrier. You know, like, if it was done deliberately to try and sabotage the ship and send it back home, like, you picked a terrible chain of command to try that with. Ryan Grimm reported that the Gerald Ford potty problems seem to be flushed t-shirts. They think a soldier started the fire. I mean, again, if that is the thinking, I don't think they understand how Donald Trump is going to really receive that. The Ford is on its way back? Oh, shit. Literally today. My God. Is moving away from operations tied to the Iran war, sailing to the U.S. Navy base in Crete for repairs. Okay, so they're going back to Crete. Oh, God. Okay, all the other ships in the strike group are remaining, though. Lol, maybe it worked? I don't know. But it could be that that's just, like, the straw that broke the camel's back. If it was done on purpose, like, honestly, I you know what? I take back everything I said. I was wrong. Good plan. But I somehow doubt it was on purpose. Who knows? Those guys need to go home. Oh my God, let them go home. Fucking everyone needs to go home from this conflict. Anyway, here's how seriously the GOP is taking all this.
China
Senator,
and Europe and others aren't.
If the Strait of Hormuz doesn't open, how are oil prices in the United States going to come down?
Well, it'll open eventually. I mean, eventually it's going to open. But in the meantime, we need to do what we're doing. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. They cannot have ballistic missiles. Right?
How long do you think it could be closed?
To make sure they don't have nuclear weapons. How long is it going to take to make sure they don't have ballistic missiles that can destroy Americans? They've been killing us for 47 years. This had to end at some point, and I don't want it on American soil. The president did the right thing. Do I want oil prices to come down? I want them to come down badly, just like everybody else. But I don't want to die, and I want people in this country to die of a nuclear weapon from Iran.
Again, literally no evidence that they have nuclear weapons. No evidence whatsoever. It's crazy that they managed to get an interview with the Crypt Keeper. Or an interview with Skeletor. Yeah. Like, it is crazy, right? Like, this is a guy who knows a thing or two about death. Am I right? Everything is so stupid. Everything is so stupid. Like, God, listen to this part from another part of this same interview.
Do you think the United States needs Europe's help, as the president has made the case today? Or he also moments later argued that they don't need their help?
Well, of course we don't need their help. We have the strongest military in the world.
But he's asking for their help.
Well, it's in their best interest. I mean,
We don't need their help. We have the strongest military in the world. But he's asking for their help. Okay. You couldn't write stuff like this in a movie because your editors would tell you it's too on the nose. All right? Like, we're just living through absolutely insane times. Like, also, can we just talk about this real quick? Like, fuck, guys. Newt Gingrich is over here saying that we should have thermonuclear detonations in the Strait of Hormuz. Saying instead of fighting over a 21-mile wide bottleneck forever, we cut a new channel through friendly territory. A dozen thermonuclear detonations, and you've got a waterway wider than the Panama Canal, deeper than the Suez, and safe from Iranian attacks. Gingrich said on Sunday, appearing to quote a satirical Substack article, which he linked in the post. Everything is stupid. Everything is rapidly disintegrating into madness. Like, Newt Gingrich is saying this because he thought that a satire article was legit. This is the actual idea. Like, Newt Gingrich is not a nobody, guys. He has a lot of influence. He's the former Republican Speaker of the House. Was he always this insane? Yeah. How does throwing our troops at your problem help us at all? It doesn't! It's all so stupid. They're taking joke articles and thinking that they're real and trying to make that policy. I mean, guys.
But the fact is that the U.S. economy is fundamentally sound, and that if it were to be extended, it wouldn't really disrupt the U.S. economy very much at all. It would hurt consumers, and we'd have to think about, if that continued, what we would have to do about that. But that's like really the last of our concerns right now, because we're very confident that this thing is going ahead of schedule.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good that Hassett is out there saying, like, oh yeah, it's not oil going to $200 a barrel isn't going to hurt the economy. It's just going to hurt consumers. Guys, it's just going to hurt consumers, and nothing that has ever hurt the spending power of consumers in a primarily consumption-based economy would ever harm the overall economy. Just go all in on that crypto. Go all in on that that AI tag. I promise the bottom isn't going to fall out of that. It'll keep us buoyed up forever. Oh my god. Like, I'm not gonna lie, guys, as somebody whose job it is to, like, pay attention and cover the news, every single day that I open the news and, like, prepare a segment about stuff like this, I just feel like an abyss in my stomach. Like, this is all just horrible, and there is no adult in the room of these halls of power capable of putting their foot on the brake. No one is telling Donald Trump no. The people around Donald Trump are all nodding, like, just, yes, yes! Like, they're all full on, all about this. They love it. They love it. They think it makes Donald Trump look cool and good. And, like, meanwhile, you have Iran over here. And Iran, in effect, has been able to continue exporting oil while all of this is happening, right? Because they control the Strait of Hormuz, and they have not fully mined the Strait of Hormuz. So there are some countries, according to Al Jazeera, that are getting oil exports from Iran right now. One being China, another being Pakistan, another being Turkey. All right? Like, there are a number of different countries that are still getting exports of oil from Iran, but essentially any country allied with the United States is having their oil exports throttled by Iran. And like we haven't even opened the can of worms that is Pakistan bombing Afghanistan. Like they're just a horrible bomb strike the other day from Pakistan to Afghanistan that killed like over 500 people, I believe. It just awful shit. Awful shit is going. Yeah, like also guys, you should be aware again, there's a lot of conflict spreading across the region, okay? That's huge. It is huge. What? OMG, why? Because Afghanistan has a group of, like, hosts a group of people who are deemed terrorists by the Pakistani government. All right. There was some potential good movement here in that they paused their bombs.
Water, oil, room service.
Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. But Pakistan did pause their airstrikes for Eid, or Eid, my bad. Yeah, it's like the conflict between Pakistan and Afghanistan has like displaced 40,000 people. Like it is all like the entire region of the world is spiraling out of control. But basically, Pakistan is upset at a splinter group of the Taliban in Afghanistan called the Pakistani Taliban. Creative name. So yeah, they're trying to strike at that group, but also hitting other targets in Afghanistan and threatens to spiral out of control. So that's also happening there. That's not great. Well, the Pakistani Taliban is a group that has staged terrorist attacks in Pakistan, and so like there's kind of a retaliation going on from Pakistan to the Pakistani Taliban, and the Pakistani Taliban is not a formal part of the Taliban government of Afghanistan. It's a whole thing. We're getting a bit sidetracked here, but it's worth noting that this region of the world is becoming increasingly unhinged, largely due to the interventionism of the settler colonial United States
So much
government.
has happened in the last year, it's so insane.
It really, really is. I did a double take earlier today when my partner talked about the inauguration being last year. It's felt so long. So long. Also, Nightlight Plushy Jesus, thank you for subscribing and being subscribed for a whole year. And Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs as well. Thank you all for supporting the show. Long year. Also, hey, fun stuff. Here you go. Donald Trump is yet again threatening to hit Karg Island and its civilian infrastructure, the oil infrastructure. Cool. What happens when Iran gets even more desperate and starts striking all of the other oil and natural gas areas of the Middle East? They're more than capable of it. What's Karg
To
Island?
think of the world we could have had by bowing out of the whole oil market and leading the Green Revolution in the 70s.
God, like even if we didn't lead the Green Revolution in the 70s, if we had just led the Green New Deal like 8 years ago, if we'd just like taken a different path and massively invested in green energy just less than a decade ago, we could have avoided all this shit. What's Karg Island? Karg Island is like one of the biggest points of oil exporting in Iran. It's a small island that handles a great deal of like oil distribution. It's essentially the main shipping hub for oil and natural gas out of Iran. And if it gets hit, or if the United States, as it seems is more likely, deploys Marines to seize Karg Island, things are going to get really bad really quickly, and it's already quite bad.
The 4 words of the apocalypse. It was her turn.
Followed by the 3 words of Armageddon. But her emails. Oh, God. Yep. He is talking in just an interview. I'm going to knock the hell out of it. Because again, like, Donald Trump barely knows what is happening right now. Like, again, to really hammer home here, like, what is going on. Worth noting, Chris Murphy is out here pointing out that Iran has deployed suicide skiffs that are disguised as fishing boats in the Strait of Hormuz to enable, like, their ability to just blow up any of these tankers that they might need to. Like, there's not a way for the United States to really lock any of this down, you know? Like, even if they started escorting ships through, like, no ship is going to want to take that
Buttery
risk.
mails.
The 2 words. The 2 words of the Antichrist. Buttery mails. Sakit the Nuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. It's so frustrating, guys. Also, can we just take a quick look at this image of Donald Trump from a couple days ago? I think this was on board Air Force One. But like, my dude did not get his makeup done, and he looks like a shade that has come from Ebenezer Scrooge's past to warn him of his transgressions and of the chains he forged in life that will bind him in death. You know, like, he fucking looks like the fucking Muppet ghosts from A Muppet Christmas Carol, you know? Like, he's gone, guys. Like, any of these people who are like, oh, but he's such a Chad, like, they're fucking drinking some Delulu juice, okay? It's crazy. He looks like that guy who chose poorly at the end of The Last Crusade. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Also, can I just... why Trump's Karg Island attacks could make the oil crisis worse. Well, you know, if you destroy their ability to ship 90% of their oil out of the country, like, yeah, they're going to retaliate against the entire region. You know?
It's crazy how the 2 record temps in the US are 2 years apart and are minus 109 and 109.
Whoa. I would have thought it was... no, I can't do it. I'm too old. I was going to make a 6-7 joke. I can't do it. Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Very much appreciated. It's all so stupid and bad. It's all so stupid and bad. It's all so stupid and bad.
Hey, yes, please, CNN. Hey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not CNN, I'm Daily Wire, but thank you for the question.
Much love to you all. Thank you, Jack, for the awesome stream.
Stop this stupidity. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Very much appreciate the support. I'm sorry, did this reporter say that she was Daily Wire?
And I'm not CNN, I'm Daily Wire, but...
Fuck. The Daily Wire is now in the White House press pool. Oh my god. Oh my god. Hi, yes, correspondent from the local clown college, here to do an accurate report of your current geopolitical actions, honk honk.
Thank you for the question. Numerous countries have told me they are on their way. Can you give us a hint what they are, what that entails, how soon they might be there?
You mean who are the countries?
Yes, sir.
I'd rather not say yet, but we'll be announcing Marco Rubio and the various people that are doing that will be announcing. And I have to tell you, we have some that are really enthusiastic. They're coming already. They've already started to get there. It takes a little while to get there. It's like, in some cases, you have to travel an ocean. So it doesn't go that fast, but it'll go fast. And we have...
It's all so stupid. It's all so stupid. He's just like, oh yeah, no, other countries were thrilled to send their navies over to the Strait of Hormuz. Other countries famously love deploying their navies because another country that they're allied with fucked everything up in the region. People love sending their navies to bail other countries out of their geopolitical disasters. People love it. They love it, Can't get enough of it. And also the idea here, all these countries are deploying they're all deploying their ships, but it'll take time. So I can't tell you which ones exactly. We're going to tell you which ones are coming. Don't you worry. You just hang tight. You hang tight. We're going to tell you which countries are coming. And let's just take a quick look at some of the countries that have been asked so far. You've got, France. Not coming. Okay, you've got the UK. Oh, they rejected it. Italy. They've also rejected it. Spain also rejected it. Japan also rejected. Norway rejected. Canada rejected. Australia rejected. Germany rejected. And as like a little bit of salt in the wound here, China just didn't give a response. And the Netherlands also gave no response. And South Korea is basically just leaving Donald Trump on red. So, yeah, this whole, they're definitely coming. No, they're not. Other countries do not want to commit their navies to escorting oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. Like, obviously they don't want to do that. The European Union even just straight up said, this isn't Europe's war. Essentially, y'all are on your own. Peace out. Like, no one wants to help the United States do this because it's stupid as hell. The United States has caused a global catastrophe. And Donald Trump and like his advisors don't even seem to really realize it yet. The United States elected officials in Congress don't really seem to realize it yet. A lot of people are like kind of angry about it, but like they aren't screaming off the rooftops about it. Like, this should be done already. How the fuck are we supposed to stop this? Unfortunately, like, to make it very clear, the only off-ramp that I am aware of is the only two off-ramps, I should say, that I am aware of is one, full-on ground invasion of Iran, which isn't going to happen because it's not because, conservatives don't want to do that, but because it is, frankly, far too expensive and this war is already far too unpopular for them to get away with it. Not to mention, personally, obviously, I think it's evil as fuck to do. The only other way out of this is to fully pull out American forces and, like, pay reparations to Iran, which I also don't think the United States is going to do. And so what we're kind of left with is, like, a situation where Donald Trump has backed himself into a corner where he can't back down. And Iran, until the United States leaves, is not going to come to the negotiating table, because right now, the people who govern Iran are saying, under no circumstances are we coming to the negotiating table with with you right now. Because, and I've been saying this a lot in my coverage here, but when you're talking about a war, both sides get a vote on whether or not the war is done. And that is a big problem, because in this case, Donald Trump unilaterally started that war. You don't get to unilaterally end a war, right? And so Iran, whether Donald Trump wants to get out of this or not, Iran is not providing an off-ramp here, because Iran needs to reestablish deterrence by making sure this is painful. And it is painful not just to, like, you know, US military, but to, like, US civilians, to folks economically. And they don't have to even do any kind of attack on American soil. All they have to do is make oil and natural gas so expensive that Americans start feeling the economic pain of this. Because they have intuited and strategized correctly that when that pain starts being felt, whether it's by American civilians or international companies or various other geopolitical entities, the blame is not going to fall on Iran. The blame is going to fall on Donald Trump and the United States. Like, that's kind of where we're at. So, there's just not an off-ramp here. And it's that's one of the scariest parts of all of this. And part of what makes me really worried is the fact that Donald Trump only has one button, which is to double, triple, and quadruple down, to continue to make threats, to continue to bomb, to continue to attack. And no amount of bombing or attacking is going to stop Iran from having the capacity to throttle international oil shipping. And so, like, I'm not entirely sure where this goes, except into deeper and deeper quagmire and deeper suffering. And, like, nobody wins in this situation. The off-ramp is impeach and remove Trump. It's not even, like, that isn't even the off-ramp, you know? Because part of the problem is it's not just a Trump problem. The entire GOP is also complicit with what is happening, right? And so, like, you can impeach and convict Donald Trump, but anyone who comes after him down the line of succession is going to also be inheriting this problem. And even if you get rid of Donald Trump, and even if you remove all US forces from the region, Iran still gets a vote on how it responds. They get to vote on whether or not they continue throttling the Strait of Hormuz. And it's possible that Iran might be gracious enough to grant an off-ramp should, like, Democrats take control of Congress in both the House and the Senate, and then impeach and convict Donald Trump. But that is a long shot at best, and also I can practically guarantee that Iran is not going to just be like, okay, Donald Trump's gone? Ha! We're all done now. Like, I don't think that's what they're gonna do. The Democrats don't seem to be much better either. If this doesn't get stopped, I can see it being another forever war. Yeah, and that is kind of the other thing, right? I guess the one piece of potential off-ramp that I see is again running out of munitions. Running out of the munition stockpile. And so that could be another way that this goes, where like the military just runs out of interceptors and either starts taking a bunch of damage or moves these $1 trillion of assets out of the region, and formally declares like, oh, we're done, mission accomplished, and they go home. And Iran might still continue to block the Strait of Hormuz for some time, but it might just be the logistical consideration of interceptors that stops what is happening here. So those are kind of all the things here. That immunity clause will keep him from being jailed. I don't think that it keeps him from being jailed if he's convicted by the Senate. Like I don't think an impeachment and conviction by the Senate is stopped by the Supreme Court ruling. So all of that being said, we're in a particularly bad time here. Oh yeah, also you know that Donald Trump is mad and is losing the PR war on this war when he's accusing anyone who criticizes him or has at less than glowing dick-sucking praise for him in the media is committing treason. So, hey, I guess I'm committing treason according to Donald Trump.
I wonder if OPEC will artificially spike the price of oil globally to try and stem this.
I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a lot of crazy shit going on with oil internationally. And also worth noting that yesterday, South Korea's president warned that a worst-case scenario for global energy must be considered, which essentially is that in his worst-case scenario, like South Korea limits any kind of energy exports and focuses on a mass overhaul of their system in order to embrace green energy. Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs, and Solid as Snake 69, thank you for the 5 gifted subs over on Twitch. Very much appreciated, folks. Thank you so much for supporting the show. So, yeah, we're literally in a situation right now. Just to hammer, I think South Korea is like kind of a canary in the coal mine situation here, where they're going to hit their worst case scenario with this much faster than a lot of other countries are going to. And out of necessity, they're going to have to embrace the mass manufacture of clean energy generation and like clean energy vehicles, etc. I wanted a faster transition to green energy, but not like this. Yeah, I mean, like it is the one potential silver lining here. Like we've been ramping up our consumption of fossil fuels for quite some time, and this might be an off ramp from that. So, if you need a silver lining to any of this, it could be that this is what globally sparks the transition to green energy. But we'll see. We'll see. Trump's accelerationism sucks, but hopefully this is a silver lining. I mean, it's not even accelerationism. Trump is just... I mean, I guess it could technically be considered, accelerationism, except that Donald it's accidental accelerationism, Oh, God. Yeah, some days it feels like months and years passed, centuries take place. I swear if this is how Trump ends global warming, I mean, Trump won't be the person who ends global warming, let's put it that way. Yeah, who would have thought that the Green New Deal would have been with Iran? Huh. Cuba's next. I mean, Donald Trump wants to fight Iran and Cuba at the same time. It's all just fucking nonsense clown world bullshit. But we're here. We're in the middle of all this, and it all sucks. And really, the only way we as common working class people get out of this, the only way that we get, the only way that we get out of having to eat a buffet of shit, as Masterification says in YouTube chat, the only way we get out of that is by organizing. We need folks to organize. We need people to get organized on the local level and build power until we're operating not just on the local level, but on the state level, okay? Because we need to organize here to build a coalition of people who stand against these stupid bullshit wars of imperialism to literally no end, you know? We need people who are in power who are going to uplift working class people, make sure people have food on the table, make sure people have a roof over their heads, make sure people have health care, and we need people to get involved now. Like, if you want to impact like your general election in 2 years, you got to start right now in your local area. Okay? Again, No Kings is happening on March 28th. There's a lot of stuff going on here, folks. And so I just want y'all to know, get involved now. Join your local Dems, join your local DSA. And folks, if you don't know how to do it, don't know where to start, hey, you can join our Discord. You can reach out to Dragonfly for help with your local Dems. You can reach out to Gamergy for help with your local DSA. We need folks to make your local Dems more progressive. We need folks to make your local DSA more effective. That's kind of, to boil everything down, that's what we need folks to do. And it starts with each and every one of us rolling up our sleeves and getting to fucking work. So get to fucking work. And all that being said, if you got anything out of this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. Comments longer than 8 words, really helping the algorithm. And also check out ImogeneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. Tested also with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. It's super comfortable. It is sexy. I'm wearing it right now, actually. It's great. And check it out, ImogeneOlivia.com. Link should be down in the description. Let's keep on going. Woof. Do 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 do. Hooked on a feeling. Dems are still overall preferable to Dems. Wait, Dems are still overall preferable to Republicans, but let's not lose sight. That's true. True. Oh, God.
Who's our local liaison for helping with your local GOP?
Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. And Jack, I'm gonna be real. 2024 election knocked the wind out of my sails, and my mental health has been genuinely awful. How do I get back in the swing of things? I'm gonna be honest. The solution to what you're feeling is getting involved. It's showing up at meetings. It is going to your local Democratic meetings, your local DSA meetings, and interacting with others and doing shit. Like, full on, straight up, wallowing in bad feeling is not going to help you, and is, in fact, only going to strengthen your desire to wallow. You gotta actually stand up and do that shit. Who's our local liaison, helping with your local GOP? I will say, there is perhaps a place for any of the strong-willed among you to join your local GOP and fuck shit up intentionally. There is a place for that. And if any of you are inclined towards that and are willing to play a long game, might be worth looking into how easy it would be to join your local Republicans and then uh, practice malicious compliance. Local GOP are a little Nazi. Yeah, and there were people who worked in the Nazi factories making Nazi munitions, and you know what? Some of the best work that was done in those factories was done by people ostensibly part of the Nazi party who fucked it up on purpose. Sometimes you gotta have people in the enemy camp fucking shit up on purpose. You're 100% right. I was feeling really isolated, and talking with like-minded people and organizing really helps you feel hope. It's true. Like, going out there and like actually showing up and talking with other people who are dedicated to doing stuff is what is going to like help you shed the doomer mentality. Not saying you should become a right winger. I'm also not seriously contemplating a huge number of you doing this. It's mostly a suggestion for those of you who are like, you know, I don't know. You all know there's a certain type of guy that I'm talking about
My
who's
one
willing to do
fear,
this.
my one honest, unshakable fear is that at some point these little titty babies are going to say screw it, total war. Kill everyone, then we'll send Iranian Americans like PBD to repopulate.
The issue, I guess one of the saving graces is that we do not have the ability to do that. This war is already the least popular war that America has ever pursued. Ever. In the history of, like, polling of war support, least popular of all time. And not only that, but also the cost of going to war is tremendous. Not only that, you have the fact that Iran is already fighting an economic war. And, like, Americans fundamentally need their little treats. If Americans don't get their little treats, we run on fundamentally a little treat economy, If Americans don't get their little treats, they will get angry. The hogs will rise up, okay? And that's a big problem for Republicans, And so the issue here is you have like consumer prices skyrocketing in the near future as a result of all of this. You have mass inflation problems around the world. You also have the fact that the American public has not authorized this war, does not want this war, and does not support this war. And then you also have the fact that logistically, we don't have the
The
tools
only
for it.
solace is the anti-war MAGA crowd calling out the pro-war MAGA crowd by way of tweeting about micropenises.
Oh, that's true. Didn't Ryan Grimm start that? Ryan Grimm started the micropenis deluge. Also, Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Very much appreciated. Treatlerites? Yeah, I like that one. We got a bunch of little treatlerites in this country. Very good, Adam Smith. God. Ryan Grimm, old school punk energy. Indeed. Good night, Dragonfly. Thank you for helping to guide people towards the Democratic Party and getting more radical folks involved, because goddamn, it's necessary work.
Wow, nice.
Hell yeah, Punky Gal. 59 months. Congratulations. Thank you for supporting for 59 goddamn months. One of the OGs.
See literal damage.
Oh god. Sake, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs and fuck, that was funny. That was good. That was some good shit. Oh god. It's all so stupid. Everything's stupid. Also, we like again, the Strait of Hormuz is also the export point for like a colossal amount of the world's fertilizer, which is of course going to come back and bite the United States and other countries as well. I just gotta say, like, all of this is going to absolutely come back to bite us. So I just want to say, as far as like the United States doing a full-on ground invasion, I don't think that's in the cards. We're already running out of interceptors right now. We certainly cannot handle like mass drone swarms on the ground as part of like an invasion. Like it's not feasible. Everything is very stupid. It's true. Everything is stupid and yet also very important. Ryan Grimm is flying to Cuba right now with some other leftist journalists, so it will be interesting to see what's going on there. Ryan Grimm does great work. I know that there's like a contingent of people who really fucking hate Ryan Grimm, and I'm not entirely sure why. But you know, I think he does good work. I do think it's weird that he works with so many like very conservative people with I think he's on Breaking Points. But that being said, it enables him to do a lot of really good actual journalism, which I appreciate. Yeah, Drop Site's been great. Hassan and Brandon Sutton are also on their way. I think it's because Ryan Grimm was so much on AOC's side when everyone was calling her a sellout. He calls out the left. That is probably what does it, yeah. Ever had the wild berry flavor? I have had the wild berry flavor of Monster Rehab. It's good. The bad part about Grimm, he keeps pushing the COVID lab leak, saying it was independent media that exposed the truth. Yeah, that's not great. That's not great. Yeah. Folks, we've been going for about 2 hours here. If you've been getting anything out of today's show, please hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, do the things. And, you know, we got a little song to let you know what to do. But I'm just realizing I forgot to initialize my media. Sorry if my audio is a little bit off. Cool shit. Do. Hopefully it sounds okay now. Feels like 30 minutes. Ain't it just? All right, here we go. Oh, Archangel, I do have to check that out.
Click the button. Click the button. Click the goddamn button. Click the button. Click the button. Click the button. Click the goddamn button. Click the button. Click the button. Click the button. Click the goddamn button. Click the button. Click the button. Click the button. Click the goddamn button. Click the button. Click the button. Click the button. Click the goddamn button. Click the button. Click the button. Click the button. Click the goddamn button. Click the button. Click the button. Click the button. Click the goddamn button. Click the button. Click the button. Click the button. Click the goddamn button. Click 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 button.
Hell yeah. The Majority Report is only 2.5 hours a day. I try to push for at least 3. Hell yeah. Goodbye, nine-tailed witch. Your Ascended Kitten, thank you for the $10 tip. Very much appreciated as well. Thank you so goddamn much. You know, let's I think I know what we're going to talk about for our next segment here. All right, here we go. So, folks, we need to talk a little bit about Josh Shapiro. Now, Josh Shapiro wants to be president. It's pretty clear that he has a desire to do this. He, of course, wants to leverage his position as Pennsylvania's governor to make a play for the White House in 2028. That much is very clear to me. He's doing podcast tours right now, and a few days ago he went on Pod Save America, and I thought it was really interesting that towards the end of the interview, he talks about the politics of Israel. And one of the things that Josh Shapiro has kind of fallen into is like this idea of, well, Israel is fine. It's just Netanyahu that's bad. We should be pro-Israel, but, anti-Netanyahu, essentially. And I'm curious if he's going to try and rehabilitate his image prior to a presidential run and like take a more critical stance towards Israel, even if out of a cynical desire to become president. So let's take a look here, folks. Let's just dive in. I don't want to watch the entire Pod Save America episode. I find Pod Save America difficult to stomach. It's not my cup of tea. But let's check out this particular section.
So it was genuinely surprising to see the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, basically say we had to act because Israel was going to go first, and they've tried to walk that back. That has fed into, I think, some of the kind of...
Wait, do Dems get anything out of supporting Israel other than genocide money? So an important component to understand is that for years and years and years, essentially they were offered money with almost no strings attached. Like, oh, you want to support, do you want to say you support Israel? Yeah, here's a bunch of money for your reelection. Okay. And it has only been very recently that has become like a huge issue within the Democratic Party. And so part of it is that a lot of institutional and establishment Democrats have become used to that money and rely on that money to get reelected. And another part of it is that these groups back candidates that already agree with them, right? And so these groups, like the Democrats that we're talking about here, they do genuinely believe in a pro-Israel position as well, And so that's kind of the issue here. Like, what they are getting out of it is the money, but in a lot of their minds, they don't even see it as really a transaction. They see it as, this is my genuine stance, and they just support my genuine stance. It's not like they didn't have the stance and were paid to adopt the stance. It in a lot of cases, they just have always genuinely had the stances that they have, you know? So it's not so much that they are getting something else out of this other than money. It's more so they already had the stance, and then the money reinforced the stance and kept them in power.
Anti-Semitism you see on the far right, a bit of what you also see on the left, that we're in this war because of Israel. It's brought us back to this debate over Israel. Governor Gavin Newsom, when talking to John and Tommy on Pod Save America, he was referencing an article by Thomas Friedman, but he said that people are talking about Israel appropriately as sort of an apartheid state. And I'm wondering what your reaction is to that comment and what it tells you about how the politics on Israel have shifted.
Well, look, Gavin should speak for Gavin, and I'm not going to weigh in on his commentary. I'll just say, look, I think that there are sort of foundational issues here that a lot of people are grappling with. And I think a lot of people are grappling with it from an honestly held view or concern. I'll come back to the comment I'll come back to answering your question about apartheid, because I think that was the comment he made, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. But I sort of start this conversation around the notion of the question a lot of people raise now is, does Israel even have the right to exist? Should we sort of be viewed?
God, I'm so sick of this question. Like, do nation states have the right to exist? No. But nation states do exist because in order to form a nation state, you have to have the power to create and maintain a state. And there's no inherent right to a nation state. You have the power to make it so, or you don't. Right? It's an annoying question that is largely irrelevant, because there's not a fundamental right to a state. There's a fundamental right to exist as a group of people. There's a fundamental right to, life and liberty and so forth. But when you're talking about the existence of a state is a power structure. A state is the essentially, when you really boil it down, the might of a military that supports a group and enforces its laws and enforces its boundaries, etc. That's really what it is when you boil it down. And so the idea of whether or not Israel has a right to exist is irrelevant, because Israel does exist, and it has a very strong military to perpetuate its existence. And so when we are talking about this issue, do they have a right to exist? That's not really at all what is being debated by anybody in this situation. There might well be people who, wish that the state of Israel did not exist. Just as there are certainly people who wish that the American state did not exist. Certainly as there are people who wish that the state of China didn't exist, or the state of Russia didn't exist. However, the wishes of these people are irrelevant in the face of the power structures that support the continuance of what is known as the state of China or Russia or the United States or Israel, right? These places are these nation states are perpetuated by their ability to use force to, essentially assert their power structures and social structures. Disabled caps lock, please stop screaming in chat over and over and over again about something that everyone else in chat already agrees with.
Viewing, Israel as an ally, should they even be allowed to exist? And I would argue, as someone who is desirous for peace, as someone who for the last 15, nearly 20 years has been calling for a two-state solution, which I realize feels very far away right now. I get that. But the idea of Israel and a Palestinian state where both recognize the other's right to exist, both want to live peacefully, and both...
Again, and this is why the two-state issue irritates the fuck out of me, especially through this particular lens of like, oh, well, we think that the Palestinian state has the right to exist and the Israeli state has the right to exist. And we need to get to a situation where both sides agree that the other has the right to exist. Except that, like, when we're talking about a Palestinian state, no one ever talks about the ability for a Palestinian state to utilize power or force of arms in order to assert its right to exist, in order to assert its existence. In the same way that, like, China has the ability to assert its national boundaries and has the ability to, utilize a military force to, support its own power structure. No one ever talks about any kind of theoretical Palestinian state that way. They talk about a Palestinian state as essentially a subjugated province of Israel, right? And so, like, it's a weird framing that inherently lends more credence in the unspoken nature of the question, right? Because if you're trying to frame it as like rights to exist versus power structures, it's very clear that the power structure that exists right now is in Israel, and Israel has that power structure, while the Palestinian territories and occupied territories have been systematically denied that ability for decades. And so I think that is the reason why oftentimes this conversation gets framed through right to exist versus the power structure to exist.
Recognize that the future for their children is going to be rooted and the foundational principle will be around this idea of peace, because that will allow their children to grow up in a society where they can be whatever they want to be. I want peace. And for those who begin by suggesting Israel doesn't have the right to exist as a Jewish state, I think that is a recipe for permanent war. And so I want to see peace in the region. I also do think it's sort of interesting that you've got 46 nations around the world where the majority religion is Islam. 23 of them.
Also, I'm not going to allow any kind of anti-Semitism from chat. So don't do that. Don't do that shit. Fuck. It's not too much to ask, guys. Israel is a... Let me just, like, be straight up in this section here. Israel is a nation state. Nation states are not religions. Those are two different things. And if I fucking see you guys conflating Judaism with Israel, I'm gonna lose it on you. Because that's not at all the thing. Like, you're doing the exact same shit Republicans do with, like, Iran and Islam. You're doing the exact same shit. And I have no time for it. If your hatred of what is happening to the people of Gaza, and you should, by the way, hate the genocide that is being perpetrated against the people of Gaza, but you conflate your hatred of what Israel as a nation state is doing with Jews in general and Judaism as a religion, you are engaged in anti-Semitism. Criticize the state and the actions of the state. Do not conflate the actions of a state with the broader religion. This should seem pretty obvious, I would think, and I would hope, but I am going to explicitly say it here so that folks don't accidentally stumble into that. Is saying you don't need an ethno-state to protect Jewish people okay? Yeah, you can be anti-ethno-state. Absolutely. Everyone should be anti-ethno-state. But criticizing a nation and what the actions of a state is different than saying that state represents all members of a religion. Don't do it. Don't do that shit.
Recognize Islam as the official state religion. One has the official state religion of Judaism, and that's the one we keep talking about here. That then leads to a broader question. You mentioned apartheid, right? Or that was the comment that was made. And I would just say, as we engage in that, we should first address this fundamental question of what do we want in that region? And if we really want peace, and I believe you want that, then we've also got to be acknowledging that language matters here, that words matter, and that we've got to use words that are actually rooted in reality and are able to bring the temperature down to create a space for that.
This really bothers me, okay? So Josh Shapiro here is saying apartheid is too charged of a word. There's quite literally a different system of law within Israel than there is for the people in the occupied territories who have lived under Israeli occupation for their entire lives. There are two different legal systems at play. One is military law and the other is Israeli law. Additionally, Israeli law treats different groups of people differently. Everyone is not equal and treated the same under Israeli law. There are ethnic enclaves of different different types of Israelis that are allowed that prohibit Arab or Palestinian folks who live in Israel from settling in those neighborhoods, from living down the street from their Jewish neighbors. And that is backed up by Israeli law. That's a problem. And when you say, well, it's not an apartheid state, just fucking look at what's happening to the West Bank, dude. Israel has been illegally building settlements in the West Bank. Let me bring up a map. West Bank map. Let's see here. No, I need a slightly better map. Here we go. I think this would be a good one. I want a clear map of the different zones. No. Okay, here we go. When was this map made? No, this is outdated as hell. Here we go. Let's just take a look at this Reuters investigation from last year. How Israel's West Bank strategy aims to bury Palestinian statehood.
I, an American Jew, fully oppose the right of the State of Israel to exist, especially as a Jewish ethno-state. I even blame the people in part as one of two.
Interesting. Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. I mean, I do think that there is a rampant degree of Zionism at play in Israel, which if you don't feel comfortable using the phrase or the word Zionism, you could just say settler colonialism, because Zionism is effectively the same thing as settler colonialism. It's just more specific. So this is, as you can see here, we have a better map here. Here we go. The Oslo Accords in 1993 were the closest Israelis and Palestinians ever came to a peace deal. They divided the West Bank into 3 zones of control. Area A, which is the solid green. Area B is Area A, by the way, the solid green is Palestinian Authority. Area B, the striped zones, are joint control, and Area C is all Israeli military control. So when they call it the occupied territory, it's because most of the territory under the Oslo Accords is occupied by the Israeli military, meaning the vast majority of the West Bank is under a completely different legal system, including, by the way, the joint control areas where Israeli military law supersedes any kind of other law. However, as you can see, you then get military bases and settlements and bypass roads and roadblocks in different
Brainwashed or no,
jurisdictions.
their polling support is in the 80s plus for most of the measures.
It's true.
It needs to be dismantled and fully re-educated from the get-go. They can too.
I do think that, like, I genuinely don't know how the de-radicalization and the deprogramming of the settler colonial mentality, I don't know what the path forward is for Israel and Israelis. I genuinely have no idea how they break this cycle. It just continues to get reinforced. God. And then you have the proliferation of settlements here. Obviously, you can see getting bigger and bigger and bigger as time goes by. Yeah, it's... To say that this is not an apartheid state when Israelis in the West Bank can roll up. We covered a story not that long ago about Israelis rolling up and killing an American citizen in the West Bank who was trying to protect, like, his family's sheep. Because the settlers just came to steal the sheep.
If Israel ever did become a full Jewish state, their government would immediately shift from Jewish supremacist to Ashkenazi supremacist and start oppressing Mizrahi, Sephardi, and Ethiopian Jews.
Well, and let's be also clear, there is already some pretty strong suppression of Ethiopian
Live in
Jews.
the Palestinian state, as a sizable minority, but not be taught the propaganda nor establish their state. UN occupation until complete.
Honestly, I do think that UN occupation would probably be the way forward here, but I don't see that happening anytime soon, unfortunately. I can't buy that the approval ratings are that high, like 80+%. I don't expect the Israeli government or its apparatuses to be honest with the numbers. I think they're pulling up Trump/Putin. Unfortunately, from what I've seen, I do believe those numbers. You know? God. It's all horrible.
Piece for that opportunity. And so that's how I view this entire conflict. I would also say that it is really important that we create space, which you do, for dialogue that is thoughtful and dialogue that's rooted in reality and dialogue where we're precise with our words, where we're able to acknowledge there's a lot of nuance on these issues and we should debate them. And just because people have different opinions doesn't make them a bad person. And just because someone doesn't agree with the Netanyahu government, which I don't on many, many things, doesn't make him an anti-Semite. Just because I disagree with Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't make me an anti-Semite, in as much as because I disagree with Donald Trump doesn't make me any less of an American patriot.
Oh, okay. But saying that Israel is an apartheid state is a step too far, apparently? Come on.
Wenzel Sharpener and his family need to be dragged to every lowering and destruction of every Israeli flag during this process and the swapping of UN recognition.
It's just, it's just not gonna happen, unfortunately. I would love if there was some kind of reckoning for the way Israel has perpetrated like a region-wide war here by bombing Iran and doing a ground invasion of Lebanon and doing a genocide in Gaza and accelerating its settler colonial movement in the West Bank. And unfortunately, while in the United States, the war in Iran is the lowest approved war of all time here in the United States. I just looked it up. According to the Times of Israel, 82% of Israelis support the war in Iran. And that number actually climbs to 93% of Jewish Israelis. According to the Times of Israel. Like, it's again, like a lot of the conflict, a lot of the fighting, a lot of the violence that is being perpetrated by the settler colonial elements of the Israeli state have insanely high support. Insanely high support. Having different opinions doesn't make you a bad person, really depends on the opinions. Yeah, it does. You like candy in your popcorn? Okay. You think people like me should be dead? You're a bad person. Well, also, just going with the you like candy and popcorn? Okay. You like putting razor blades in the popcorn? Again, like, you can even just stick with the popcorn analogy, and suddenly the opinions can make you quite a heinous individual, you know?
So I just think we've got to be really thoughtful and careful and not just look for buzzwords and not just sort of follow, what's going to get maybe some likes on Twitter. But we've got to be thoughtful about a debate that is really, really hard to have, and we've got to have it.
Yeah, like
discussion, not debate.
Yeah. So I'm somebody that, I see that kind of blurry line between anti-Zionism and
Slightly time lagged, but the nation state argument is actually complex. I know that certain leftist ideologies don't like the idea of nations. You're talking to a leftist who fundamentally would like to live in a world without nation states, yeah. But also, and I get it, but a lot of ethnic groups want, and I'm gonna stop you right there, Emo Bear writes. I don't think people should form ethno-states. Just ever. Point blank. Ethno-states are bad.
I used to go to the Ren Fair as a kid. My parents bought my brother and I wooden swords and took them away when we hit each other, then stopped buying swords.
Aw, damn. But swords are cool, and you can hit your brother with them. But Sake Tanuki, point taken, and thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. But also Emo Bear writes, I understand though that when I am talking about nation states, the reason I want to frame it not through the right to exist, but rather through power to exist, is because one is talking about an abstract notion and the other is talking about the actual ability to implement the power structure, right? And so there are plenty of people who would, like an angry child might want to declare their bedroom an independent nation, a micronation, if you will. But like, they might not have the authority to actually enforce any of their laws inside that room. Like, what I'm trying to say here is that, like, also, and you give an example of people like the Kurds, the Basques, and the Irish, and also the Palestinians. I would also be against ethno-states if they had policies to prohibit and like
I wonder if Bibi had
ethnically
Epstein
cleanse
photos
their
through Mossad
lands.
and used them to blackmail Trump into the
You know?
micropenis conflict.
The micro-penis duel. I just... like, the argument here that like, oh, well, you need an ethno-state to make your people safe. It's the exact same argument made by white nationalists, just as an FYI. And I think it's a bad argument when white nationalists make it. And I think it's a bad argument when any other group makes it. Because again, enforcing an ethno-state means ethnic cleansing. It means enforcing that state via violence. Like, that's what a state does. It is the direction of violence to support an like a power structure. That is what a state is. And so when we're talking about like an ethno-state, it is not just like, oh, people just want to live in peace. No, it is also the enforcement of violence through a social structure, to enforce a social structure. It is not simply like a protective wall you build around a community. It is more than that, and it is more all-encompassing than that. And so I reject this notion that like, well, you know, we should like ethno-states are okay if it's just a very small ethno-state. Like, I don't know, would you feel super comfortable with like the state you live in becoming an ethno-state for like neo-Nazis, where they're able to like enforce neo-Nazi laws and enforce, you know, ethnic cleansing on the state you live in? No, I don't think you'd be comfortable with that. And that's the kind of thing we're talking about here. No, stop it. I'm not going to like caution this argument where you like come into the chat while we're talking about an apartheid state in Israel and then try and say, well, ethno-states might sometimes be good. No, full stop. Stop making the fucking Aryan argument. Like, stop it. You're fucking coming in here and you're saying, well, it's fine if you do a Nazism as long as you're just a bunch of little guys. No, it's not okay. Stop it. Stop twisting your brain like this. It is so unnecessary. God. I do really want to emphasize here, it's the exact same logic that fuels Zionism. It's the exact same logic that fuels the creation and enforcement of the state of Israel itself. And you're just engaging with the same thing. And it's wild to me during this segment that you're just like, well, why can't we just have a little ethno-state? That's literally what we're talking about right now. What you're looking at in Israel is the end result of an attempt to create an ethno-state. And like, it should be pretty obvious that that's bad. It's frustrating as hell. Stop it. Just a whittle ethno-state as a tweet. Stop it.
Anti-Semitism. It was genuinely shocking to see people defend Hamas.
Like in the past segment, I was talking about the economic destruction of the war in Iran. Gonna like the destruction and damage it's gonna do in America because we have a little treat-based economy, a bunch of little treat-based hogs running around, and we called them treatlerites. And it's just like you're just engaging in treatlerite ideology. You're just being like, well, what if we have a whittle ethno-state as a tweet? And it's like, stop it. Just stop. Stop. You don't have to do this.
Researcher, the murder of Jews after October 7th, also horrified by what I view as ethnic cleansing that Israel engaged in Gaza, the efforts to annex the West Bank, which are not only just wrong morally, but also put this idea of a two-state solution even further away, make Israel a pariah nation. I think there's a lot of Jewish people who feel this conflict.
I'm not saying they aren't often bad, but I'm wary of making blanket statements because I think the line between homeland and ethno-state can be blurry. It's not. An ethno-state, like, let me put it this way. Maybe you can understand this. I was born in Minnesota. I'm white. If we were to enforce an ethno-state in Minnesota and said, hey, only Scandinavians can live in Minnesota now, it would entail a mass campaign of ethnic cleansing that would then result in hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people being displaced violently by police and military forces in the state of Minnesota. It would involve a mass purging of people, a mass exodus, a northern Nakba, if you will, here in Minnesota. And you're saying, well, it might be fine in that case. And like, no, it wouldn't be fine. This might be the place where I was born and raised. This might be the place where I call home. It doesn't give me the right to say, hey, this is now an ethno-state, and we are going to violently enforce it. Like, stop it. Well, sometimes the line between an ethno-state and a homeland might be blurred. No, they're two very distinct things that mean very different things, actually. There is a difference.
How do you think about that conflict, that sort of space between the Israel we were taught to believe in growing up and the Israel that we see and how it is conducting itself?
I think, and I write about this a lot in my book, about the first trip I ever took to Israel, about how important, that was for me, how it helped, me get closer connected to my faith and closer connected to my girlfriend who ended.
I'm gonna give you a 30-minute timeout to think about maybe why ethno-states are a heinous thing to advocate for, even some of the time.
Up, becoming my wife years later. I have profound differences from with the policies of Netanyahu, who's largely dominated Israeli politics for the last 2 or more decades. I think he and Trump have politicized and poisoned the relationship between the United States and Israel. And I think at the end of the day, that makes America less safe.
Nope. Man, I didn't think I'd have to, talk this much to chat. Don't use the word Zio in any of my chats. It's a term coined and popularized by David Duke, former Grand Wizard of the KKK. You can come up with other terms, or you can just type out Zionist like a normal person would. Don't use fucking KKK terminology.
I can see the Minnesota ethnic cleansing now. All right there, bucko. We've determined that you're a degenerate, don't you know? Now we're gonna send you to live with the Meese and Canucks in the far north.
Indeed.
And undermines our national security. I look through all of this through the prism of what's best for the United States of America.
Okay, but you can see how perhaps looking through a prism of what is best for our nation state might in fact be an incredibly narrow way to look at a geopolitical conflict, and a way that could set us on a path towards ruin by
if one more
having
person tells
significant
me that
blind
Kamala
spots.
should have chosen Shapiro, I hope Zionism makes the DSM-6.
How many people are telling you Kamala Harris should have chosen Josh Shapiro? Josh Shapiro is a particularly unspectacular governor in my eyes. Every single time I see him appear in public, I see him making terrible arguments about how no guys, it's just Netanyahu. It's not the entire cabinet that Netanyahu has. It's not any of the Knesset that is overwhelmingly supportive of Netanyahu. It's none of that stuff. It's just Netanyahu. He's the problem. If we just get someone else in charge of Israel, it'll all the problems will go away. All the settler colonialism will just dissolve. The evil will be defeated. the blue MAGA are losing their damn minds over this interview? Are they really? Did they wait? Does blue MAGA think that he did well in this interview? Because this is actual dog shit. He's out there being like, "Oh, it's not an apartheid state," when literally human rights groups based in Israel have released reports detailing in excruciating detail how it is in fact apartheid. You know, in fact, let me just pull this up. Let me just pull this up because I went over this years ago. Years ago. This exact report from B'Tselem, a regime of Jewish supremacy from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. This is apartheid. This is made by an Israeli human rights group. Okay? This is quite literally like just absolutely a great breakdown. I do recommend this report to basically anyone who doesn't understand what goes on with Israel and the occupied territories. Obviously, this was written before the genocide in Gaza happened, but it explains quite a bit about the conditions that led to everything that you see happening right now. Immigration for Jews only. Any Jew in the world and his or her children, grandparents, and spouses are entitled to immigrate to Israel at any time and receive Israeli citizenship with all of its associated rights. They receive this status even if they choose to live in a West Bank settlement not formally annexed to Israel's sovereign territory. In contrast, non-Jews have no right to legal status in Israeli-controlled areas. Granting status is at the almost complete discretion of officials, the Minister of the Interior, or the military commander in the occupied territories. Despite this official distinction, the organizing principle remains the same. Palestinians living in other countries cannot immigrate to the area between the Mediterranean Sea and the Jordan River, even if their parents, or their grandparents were born and lived there. The only way Palestinians can immigrate to areas controlled by Israel is by marrying a Palestinian who already lives there as a citizen, resident, or subject, as well as meeting a series of conditions and receiving Israeli approval. Like, that, again, just one paragraph from this, one paragraph from this, and it is just obvious how full of shit Josh Shapiro is on this issue. This article looks great. It is a full-on report of how the checkpoints work, how immigration works, what area you are in the occupied territories. Like, if you're born as a Palestinian in one of these territories, where you're born gives you different rights. Like, you have the different ability to travel between cities based on where you were born in the occupied areas. Like, it is insane. It is insane. And the people who are saying like, "Oh, you shouldn't call it apartheid," really need to do their damn homework on this.
Hyper politicization of these kinds of relationships with Israel or with other countries in the realm of foreign policy, I think ultimately works to the detriment of American national security. I think it's fair game to criticize the Netanyahu government. And I'm one who engages in that. You mentioned the West Bank. Let me speak to that. I think what is happening in the West Bank, and I've spoken out quite a bit about this, what's happening in the West Bank, where settlers are taking farms of Palestinians, are assaulting them. Where in the case of a kid from Northeast Philadelphia, a Palestinian American, killed him just a week or two ago. I've called on General Bondi to conduct a full investigation about the death of this American.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she'll get right on that.
Young person in the West Bank. I think that is ultimately not in Israel's long-term interests. And
that's cool. Unfortunately, the settlements have a huge amount of support in Israel. Let's just see here. Yeah, strongly worded letter.
Worded letter.
like, you can say, oh, well, it's all Netanyahu. It's the Netanyahu government. Except the issue is it's not just the Netanyahu government. Like, when it comes to support of the settlements in Israel, like, basically, there is a colossal financial incentive to engage in investment in the settlements. Because effectively, as long as you build something and prevent it from being knocked down or, burned down or whatever, you get to keep it. Right? So, like, when investors start building a new settlement, it's essentially free real estate for them. They don't have to pay the owner of that land anything because they can just steal it. Like, the financial sector in Israel is super incentivized to invest in settlements. And not only that, when it comes to like popular support, like, the majority of like sentiment among Israelis is that either they have really no opinion on it, or they think that, again, this is the 40% of the Israeli public believes that settlements increase their national security. Right? 40% of all Israelis. And not only that, there's an additional like 25% that is just kind of in the middle. So only 35% of Israelis think that settlements in the West Bank harm their national security at all. And that's just on the question of national security. Like, that's not even like whether or not they support any of this just generally in any other capacity. Like, since the policy of creating these settlements began in 1967, every single Israeli government has had a program to encourage these settlements in the occupied territories. Every single one. And now, it is getting close to like 500,000 Israelis live in these settlements, these that are illegal under international law. And again, B'Tselem also has a great breakdown of the settlement policy here. I'm going to link it in chat for you guys as well, so you guys can check that out. Again, B'Tselem, excellent resource on a lot of different things going on when it comes to human rights abuses within Israel and the occupied territories.
I think the Netanyahu government has a responsibility to stamp that out, to stop that lawlessness.
They have a responsibility to stop this lawlessness that has gone on decades before Netanyahu even got into power. Okay.
And I think the American government, the Trump administration, needs to speak up on this and needs to be more of a voice.
How can you say that? My guy, Donald Trump has been openly bragging about building settlements over like the rubble of Gaza. Like, he's been openly like ecstatic about like Trump hotels being built in occupied territory. Why on earth would the Trump administration oppose this when they stand to make a lot of money off of this? Well, I'm going to write them a strongly worded letter and get them to stop. Okay.
Of clarity, moral clarity on this issue.
Right, but those are two things that are just simply not going to happen. Netanyahu wants to annex the West Bank, and Trump and the ambassador to Israel for the United States, Huckabee, believes we're on some sort of biblical crusade. So those two things will not happen as long as Donald Trump is there and Benjamin Netanyahu is there. So then what is the value of, beyond just calling for them to become different people, what do we do?
Well, these are the leaders that each country has chosen. I'm not going to speak to what the people in Israel chose. They'll have an election. They'll figure that out. Here in the United States of America, we need to have more of a check on this administration. That's going to start in these midterms. We've got to win the House of Representatives at least back. And that's why I think we need a national referendum on these policies, on Trump's policies, and encourage everybody, whether you're in a swing state like mine or a state that's maybe not as much of a swing state like yours here in California, to get out, to vote, to make sure our voices are heard, to change the makeup of Congress, and begin to
go to
put
the
more
polls.
checks in place.
Pod Save America is brought to you by Armor Cologne.
The frustrating part about this is that this guy's a governor, right? And like, ostensibly as a governor, you have a significant amount of power to influence, not necessarily the greater country, but definitely things within your state, right? And like, I don't know, I feel like if you are the governor and you have power to do things within your state, you should be doing the things you can in your state to affect a better outcome in that part of the world, because you can do your part,
The leader of the Israeli opposition party has some questions about the conflict, but agrees with it anyway. The whole state cannot exist.
And yet it will sadly and inhumanly continue to murder, unfortunately. But yeah, Sake Tanuki, you point out a very prominent problem here, which is that all the options on the table politically in Israel are terrible. And like, Shapiro isn't going out there and saying, well, these are the policies that my state is going to pursue in order to pressure Israel to stop its expansion of settlements. He's going out there and saying, well, you need to go out there and vote hard so that we can win Congress. And like, yeah, it is important to vote hard and win Congress, but also, what are you doing as a governor? Someone who is governing millions and millions of people. Like, what are you doing? You should be able to exert some kind of influence. If nations with populations, just out of curiosity, population of Pennsylvania, 13 million people. Population of okay, the entirety of all Scandinavian countries is around 22 million people. So, just as an FYI, I guess Sweden would maybe be the most populous of the Scandinavian countries, might be analogous to Pennsylvania. Like, you have the economic capacity and the political capacity to influence 13 million people. What legislation are you putting forward? What are you actually doing? And like, there's no question about that. It's just, oh yeah, we need to win Congress. That's literally the most obvious thing on the planet. What are you doing as a person of prominence and power who oversees 13 million people? What are you doing? Like, are you going to engage in like some form of like BDS, boycott, divest, and sanction? Are you going to I don't know, put political pressure on any American citizen that is engaged in building out these settlements? Like, what are you going to do? You've got to do something about it. When you have that level of power, you got to be doing shit. And the fact that Josh Shapiro just comes on here to basically be like, well, Netanyahu's the real problem. We got to let them sort it out. We got to sort out our stuff here by just voting Democrats in, and then we'll cross the next bridge. No, you should have answers to this right now. So I'm it's just very frustrating to see on a lot of different levels here. And I don't know, this was exactly as terrible as I thought it was gonna be. And I think some of you understand now why I'm not a huge fan of Pod Save America. Like, I find their line of questioning a bit flaccid, to say the least. I don't know. That's where I'm at. I feel like I've made my positions pretty clear, and I feel like I've criticized this entire thing pretty thoroughly. So, all that being said, if you got anything out of this, folks, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, leave a comment. Comments longer than 8 words really help in the algorithm, and also do consider getting involved in your local Democratic Party and your local DSA, because folks, we need people to join the local Democratic Party so we can radicalize it, make it more progressive. Consider it, if you will, a boarding of the Democratic ship and jettisoning off the dead weight of these corporate establishment Democrats like Josh Shapiro, who fail us time and time and time again. We need to replace them with people who actually give a shit and are willing to do stuff about the problems in our world. Because we are beset by so many problems, and it is very clear that people like Josh Shapiro are not going to help solve those problems. So we need to get people in the room who are going to solve those problems. And we also need people to join the DSA, because if more and more people join DSA and help organize and bring more people in, we can build a working person coalition that is as effective as what it was mobilized in New York City to get Zoran Mamdani elected. And we need, as much as humanly possible, to find solidarity in one another, to fight for working class people, not just here in America, but working class people all across the world, in any place where folks are being oppressed, whether it is Gaza, whether it is in Pennsylvania. We need to be working toward the liberation of all people. Okay. And with that being said, folks, join your local DSA, join your local Democrats. And folks, if you need help doing it, join our Discord. Reach out to Dragonfly for help organizing with your local Democrats and radicalizing your local Democrats. Dragonfly has a lot of experience doing both. And also reach out to Gamergy for help organizing and making your local DSA more effective. Gamergy has been doing this for a long time and has a lot of great tips and advice for you. Please take advantage of these incredible people who have made themselves resources for this community. And if you don't want to join the Discord, you can come over to riverboat.gg and talk to them in this chat. They are often active here when I'm streaming during normal hours. And last but not least, please check out ImogeneOlivia.com, gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes, also tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. People find it very comfortable. It is non-tucking lingerie, very sexy, and it actually fits. So check it out. We got new styles, sizes, and colors coming in the near future. ImogeneOlivia.com. Check it out. Link down below in the doobly-doo. Let's keep on going. God, my hair's a little bit wild, but I kind of like it. It is kind of late, folks. I think we're gonna tap out with 2 segments today. But, you know, I had fun. Oddly enough. I just want a government that doesn't hire pedos. If only. Have you ever tucked and did it hurt? Have I tucked? Yes. Did it hurt? Sometimes. If you tuck poorly, it can hurt a lot. If you tuck well, it doesn't hurt, but it's still not exactly the most comfortable thing in the universe. And honestly, we should all strive to live in a world where people don't need to tuck, and like if you don't tuck, it's fine. You know? There are always going to be like trans girls that want to tuck, like it's fine. But increasingly there's a lot of people who just want to like throw on their panties and like go for a night out and not be sitting in discomfort the entire time, you know? Don't use tape to tuck ever. Never use tape. I tuck myself in at night. Hey, hey, yo. I'm gonna binge watch Sense8 to celebrate. Oh, fuck yeah, Amber Brains. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Amber Brains. Happy birthday to you. And many more. I hope you enjoy Sense8. I've heard nothing but great things. A little night tuck, indeed. The only time I tuck in these days after buying Imogene Olivia is into a good meal. I'm gonna lose it. They keep saying we need to vote our way out, but then they refuse to listen to the people about our outrage on what Israel is doing. Exactly. It is incredibly irritating and enraging. Not even getting tucked into bed. Well, I go to bed so late that my partner can't tuck me in because she's asleep. I can tuck my partner in though, and I do sometimes. It's why I was so late tonight, because I tucked her into bed, and it was adorable, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Doing dangerous maneuvers, kind of, yeah. Is Marilyn in the room? Oh my god, Mix Dizzy, thank you for the compliment. Pluvius says, as a cis guy over 35, I can only imagine how uncomfortable tucking must be, even when done right, because I've sat on my balls before and it sucked. Well, if you're doing it right, you're not sitting on your balls. You know? If you're doing tucking right, they go back up into your body. So you're not sitting on them, but it's not necessarily super comfy either. Yeah, they sit inside of you. Yeah, estrogen does make it a little bit easier, for sure. Nesting my eggs. How on earth do you do that? That sounds terrifying. The general premise is you just put them back up into your body. Like when your testes descend, they come out of your body, and those same pathways are still open internally, so you can just like yoink, put them back up there, and then you tuck backwards. Does that make sense? It's it's not a fun process. I've done it, and I'm pretty good at it. But I will take non-tucking panties every day for the rest of my life over over having to tuck to wear attractive underwear, you know? Penguin maxing. Daily muffing session for expansion. Oh fuck, I haven't thought about the word muffing in a long time. Oh god. How do you get them back out? They just come back out. They descended once, they can descend again. I mean, you can make it a fun process, but like I never found it fun. All I know about tucking is Hatsune Miku Binder, not Lin-Manuel Miranda. I have no idea what that means. Trans people are cool. I agree. I don't want them to descend again. Give me those ovaries. What a vibe. I feel that.
Tucker Carlson has a new meaning in my head.
Maybe that's why he makes that face all the time. I can't do it. Is that what he does? Is Tucker Carlson's like what face the male Ahego face? Oh my god, it's even funnier than I remember it being. I gotta show you guys, just real. Man, this guy is this guy, I'm genuinely scared of him running for president. I'm genuinely really worried he's gonna run for president, and it feels so fucking stupid that I am worried about that. Oh god. Tuck slipped down. He looks like he's actively shitting himself. That's how he looks like 95% of the time. Resting dipshit face. Everyone talks about RBF, but no one talks about RDF. Oh god. Tucker Carlson, new drag name. Oh my god. Incredible. Incredible stuff. Also, Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. He looks like a toddler in an adult body. The movie Big was actually based on Tucker Carlson. It's true. True story. The Tom Hanks movie Big, something that happened to Tucker Carlson. I'm hoping you're a woman because I called you cute. I am a woman, so congratulations, you won. I'm a sleepy lady, though. I was gonna make a tucking joke, but I can't find the balls to say it. Oh, God. Oh, fuck. I feel like him running for president would divide the MAGA, though, assuming Vance also did. I don't think it would divide MAGA. I don't think MAGA has any loyalty to JD Vance whatsoever. And I think MAGA, once Donald Trump is gone, I think MAGA goes to whatever populace they recognize. And that would be Tucker Carlson, you know? Late night unhinged chat is good. Thanks. I've been playing with my sleeves the entire time, and I really hope I don't ruin this top. It's very fun. It's like kind of like witchy. It's both witchy, but also I feel like I'm a cool girl in the 70s, you know? Whoa. Like I have a great like mini skirt and like some knee-high boots, and I think like just an all black outfit, maybe like a cool big belt in the middle would be very cool. Would MAGA wither away? I don't think so. It really depends. If there is like a clear inheritor to the throne, then no. If there isn't, then they're gonna fade away. Thoughts on Karl Marx? Generally positive. I like his thoughts about workers of the world uniting and folks having nothing to lose but their chains. And I think he had a pretty accurate conception of how capital works and functions. And I think that his critique of feudalism was pretty good. and that he rightly recognized capitalism was an improvement on feudalism, but that we could probably do better than capitalism. I would totally do shrooms with you in the woods while doing pagan rituals. Thank you. Hopefully no pagan rituals that require sacrifices of my flesh. Your hair is perfect tonight, new cut. No, I just had it up in a bun all day, but I hairsprayed it the other day and I didn't wash it. So this is just like the result of sweat and a little bit of hairspray and being in a bun. MAGA's fracturing, not dissolving, but not cohesive. Yeah, the only thing that keeps MAGA together right now is Donald Trump's personality. You know, once he's gone, like, you know, who can say? There may rise someone who can inherit the throne. The only person I can really think of that could do that is Tucker Carlson, which is why he scares me. But if no one does, the cult of personality is not transferable, you know? Yeah, people were asking me what tucking was, so I told them. I'm just knowledgeable. Do-do. I think it depends on whether Trump endorses someone else. You know, I don't even think that Trump endorsements really help all that much. Even if Donald Trump says JD Vance is my one true successor, I don't think that the cult of personality transfers like that. Like, I've seen JD Vance stand up in front of a crowd and he's really bad at talking to people. Like, he's really, really bad at it. Like, his endorsements aren't helping anybody. He said he was going to endorse somebody in the Texas runoff for the GOP. And that, you know, whoever he doesn't endorse should drop out, and then neither of them dropped out, and he never endorsed anybody because he wanted to endorse whoever didn't drop out. He knows it doesn't work that way. He wants to pick the winners. He doesn't like having to guess, you know? He doesn't like attaching his own perceived successes to other people, you know? Time lag, but if I'm unbanned, you're not, you weren't ever banned. I timed you out for 30 minutes. That shit would be impossible here. I'm sorry, you think it would be impossible to do an ethno state in the UK? I don't I gotta be honest, you might be from the UK. You do not strike me as someone who's particularly knowledgeable about the ethnic groups of the UK. God. I'm sorry. I minored in history, in European history. So I've studied a lot of the military history of like the UK, the British Isles in particular, and I can tell you the idea that like, oh, y'all are one kind of unified ethnic homogeneity is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Okay? Like, shut the fuck up. Stop defending ethno-states. Just stop it. The idea that you're like, well, it could never happen here in the UK because we're all just we're all too mixed up. You don't understand how ethno-states form. For fuck's sake. You're advocating for a system wherein anyone in the UK could be like, well, I'm the true heir to the Anglo-Saxon throne, and only Anglo-Saxons should be allowed to reside within London. And then suddenly you get purges. Like, come the fuck on. Understand what the fuck you're talking about and your place in fucking history. Like, fuck. Reform is basically trying to do that right now in the UK. Like, God, what's wrong with you? Also, Patrick Lucas, thank you for the gifted membership. Yeah, also Anglo-Saxon is already like two different ethnicities mixing. But let's be very clear. So was all of the people that like Hitler was calling Aryan. Again, ethno-states are not rational creations. Never have been, never will be. Imposing a power structure to justify, or imposing an ideology to justify an ethnic cleansing is never a rational thing to do. I think I've been misinterpreted, but I get why. I get why it looks like that way, and it's useful to have it pointed out that way. I get the point, I really do, but self-determination. Shut the fuck up and learn about the words you're using. Self-determination is not the same thing as an ethno-state. God, fuck. Okay, point taken. Thank you. Everyone always talks about the Anglo-Saxons, but what about the Anglo-Trombones? Trombone? From Mega Man Legends? Trombone was cute. Also, Rex Parka, thank you for the 100 biddies. I get it, her name is a trombone joke. Maybe? I don't know. Nothing about her character referenced trombones. Wait, I'm sorry. There's a video game about trombone? Wait a minute. Wait a minute, I've fallen down a rabbit hole. Wait a minute, I had no idea there was a fucking spin-off to Mega Man Legends called The Misadventures of Trombone. What? That's so cool. Guys, look. What the fuck? How am I just finding out about this? Tron Bonne was so cool. It's a prequel to the first Mega Man Legends game? God, it's so cool. All right. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I just have a very I have a very strong motivation to play this now. I would have told you, but I didn't know it existed, right? I'm a sucker for video games about air pirates and sky pirates, and Tron Bonne is a sky pirate. That's cool as hell. The Anglo-Baritone Saxons, the Anglo-Alto Saxons, etc. There you go. Excellent top-tier first message. I appreciate that. Sky Pirates are fucking sick. Anyone remember Skies of Arcadia Legends? I need to play that game on stream sometime. I need to play Skies of Arcadia on stream. It's so fucking good. I've never played another game like it, and I know the story is relatively rote by RPG standards, but like, genuinely the airship battle system I thought was inspired and cool as hell. God. Oh, disabled caps lock. Thank you for the $3 super chat. Alright, folks, you need to play Rogue Galaxy. Rogue Galaxy slaps. It's a great video game. Sad how much Third Way is trying to take over Montana. Well, I mean, let's be real about what Third Way is. Third Way is effectively the next wave of Republican Party, you know?
I'll never figure out why Square made dual and triple techs for CT, and never use them in any FF game after.
Right? It's such a cool system. God. There are so many cool RPG mechanics. One of my... Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. And also, like, there are so many cool combat systems that have been used in RPGs over the years. And I think this might be why one of my favorite RPGs in recent years has been Chained Echoes. It's basically just a massive labor of love for all the classic RPGs and their mechanics, and it's such a great story, and also like the mechanics of the game are just satisfying as hell. Folks need to play Chained Echoes. It's cool as hell. Cool as hell. We're gonna stun lock Jack on video games. She needs sleep. It's true. You guys need to stop it. But we are gonna watch the trailer for Chained Echoes. Just because I want you guys to be excited about it too. Here you go. Also, it has mechs. Well, take a look at it. God, it's so good. Gothic 1 remake, June 5th. Ooh, I'll take a look at it. God, it's so good. All right, what is this? It's Mina the Hollower. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. God, the music is so good. I'm so excited for this to come out. God. Also, can I just like one last game to shout out? So I thought this game was an MMO because I've played the other game that this company has made that was an MMO, and well, I'm not super into MMOs. But let's just take a quick gander at this.
It's time. To take back what was stolen.
So, you're finally here. You were expecting me?
Well, you Greymanes are a hard lot to kill, clawing your way back from death's door over and over. How'd you do it?
Let's find out, shall we?
Like, what the hell? That's so cool. Like, I'm a sucker for a couple of different things in here, all right? I'm a sucker for climbing on top of creatures and fighting things. I'm also a sucker for open world, tackling different combat scenarios, as you will.
This feels like what I wish current America was.
I'll take a look at that in a second. You need to play that on stream? I would love to play that on stream. Maybe I will. It came out, I guess it comes out today. Maybe, I will be on the Transatlantic Call-In show today. Maybe I will play this, or I would really like to play maybe we'll do a chill stream tonight, and I'll play Escape from Ever After some more, and we can do this after I finish Escape from Ever After. Crimson Desert, is that a BDO sequel? I think it is set in the same universe as Black Desert is. I'm not entirely sure. It is made by the same developer, which is why I thought it was an MMO. This feels like what I wish Current America was. What is this? Metal Wolf Chaos, fuck yeah.
By the end of the first quarter of the 21st century, beginning with a large-scale military coup d'etat that erupted in various cities throughout the nation, freedom was dead in America. However, one final hope in opposing the coup d'etat forces remained. This final hope being the U.S. president himself.
This is some big, are you a bad enough dude to save the president energy, and I love
Richard! What do you stand for, Michael? Be certain of your death here and now. Now, come at me with all your body and soul. Die!
That's pointless, Mr. President.
Nothing is pointless, and the reason is because I'm the president of the great United States of America. Take America back! Yeah! I always make the impossible possible, and I'm gonna keep on doing so.
Way to go, Mr. President. No one can stop you now.
These incapable pigs are eating this nation alive. The death of these freeloaders, leaving only the capable behind, will help me create a new nation. And watch those worms wiggle in pain.
Make him sing in a rain of gunfire.
I won't lose to that false prophet. Believe in your own
Oh, no offense
justice.
taken, Ninja Nine.
The best medicine for that kind of headache is pumping it full of a heavy dose of lead.
The fucking quotes throughout this game are incredible. Oh god, no offense taken, Ninja Not. I will get you one of these days. G Gundam vibes. Take all my rage, my sorrow, and all of my dreams. I butchered the quote. No, fuck it. I would enlist immediately. Burning Finger! It's a real game. It is a real game. I know it seems like it's not a real game. It is a real game. It is tongue-in-cheek, though. Did I see the Dune 3 teaser yet? I haven't seen the Dune 3 teaser. Mostly because I'm very much looking forward to, not necessarily the movie itself, I'm really looking forward to watching the conservative fallout from them seeing the movie. That is going to be far more delicious to me than any of the film itself. Be the American the Japanese think you are. I mean, be the American the Japanese from, 15 years ago thought you were. Okay, I'm gonna go to sleep now. You guys can't stop me. It's almost 5 o'clock in the morning. Bye!
Come on and take a walk with me through this green and growing land. Walk through the meadows and the mountains and the sand. Walk through the valleys and the rivers and the plains. Walk through the sun and walk through the rain. Here is a land full of power and glory, beauty that words cannot recall. Oh, her power shall rest on the strength of her freedom. Glory shall rest on us all. From Colorado, Kansas, and the Carolinas too, Virginia and Alaska, from the old to the new, Texas and Ohio and the California shore. Tell me who could ask for more? Here is a land full of power and glory, beauty that words cannot recall. Oh, her power shall rest on the strength of her freedom. Glory shall rest on us all. Yet she's only as rich as the poorest of the poor, only as free as a padlocked prison door, only as strong as our love for this land, only as tall as we stand. For here is a land full of power and glory, beauty that words cannot recall. Oh, her power shall rest on the strength of her freedom. Glory shall rest on us all. Come on and take a walk with me through this green and growing land. Walk through the meadows and the mountains and the sand. Walk through the valleys and the rivers and the plains. Walk through the sun and walk through the rain. Here is a land full of power and glory, beauty that words cannot recall. Oh, her power shall rest on the strength of her freedom. Glory shall rest on us all, on us all.